Are we good? I think we're here. We will, yep. Cool. Here we go. And we're live. Cool. Okay. Is this gonna... Hold on, let me just change the settings on this. See if I can make it look a bit better. Otherwise, I'll switch to the Pixis, which is also plugged in. 56. Where? No, I forget where the I forget where the camera settings are for exposure and stuff. Image? No? Oh, there. Oh, okay. Well, so let's go 1/50. It's still kind of noisy. This is the Obsbot Tail Air, by the way. But this is the Pixis 6K. It's just not a great angle because I don't have a good way to like mount this to my desk the way that it's currently set up. So we're just gonna have to deal with that. But we're here for this anyway. Got the Lumix S12. Honestly, I am quite surprised that it arrived this early. It's the 12th of June. And when I ordered it, which was like 2 weeks ago, I got an email saying that it'll be like that Lumix was telling the shop that it was going to be like mid to late June. So I was thinking that means late June. So I was a bit worried that it was going to be after I leave on holiday at the end of June. So yeah, I was actually quite surprised when I got the email today, this afternoon, to say it was ready. Well, oh no, the weight of that one. Well, I've literally got a shop bag on my desk here to like angle this up a bit, but because the battery's so heavy, it doesn't even do anything. And there's, unless I like hook, ready? If I hook that, no, that's not going to do anything. Well, okay. It is what it is. But yeah, so I just charged the battery. So I already unboxed it. I'm not gonna do a whole unboxing. Unboxing a camera like this is very straightforward now. It's like, it's not really a whole experience. It's just take the battery, the charger, and the body out, and that's pretty much it. One thing I am really happy about is that it comes with a charger, because neither of my Sony cameras, the FX30 or the A7 IV, came with a charger. So I think I bought a charger pretty early on. But yeah, this comes with a charger and it comes with one battery. I have 2 more batteries that are supposed to be arriving tomorrow that I've ordered. And yeah, so I should be pretty good for batteries. And then, to be fair, a lot of the time I'll use it rigged up with a V-mount anyway. Basically, the rig that my Pixis is in right now, I'll rig it up. I'm also really glad, not only that I ordered the batteries in time to like get this, I was sort of hesitant to order the batteries and also the cage. I have a cage here. I was hesitant to order these things because I didn't know when I was going to get it, but I didn't want to get the camera and then not have this stuff. So I just ordered it thinking that they were just going to sit here for like 2 weeks before I got the camera. But this came last week, and then I'm getting batteries hopefully tomorrow. So we're pretty much like already set, because I already got this lens. I haven't made a video about this yet. Let's just focus on that. This is the Sigma 28-105 millimeter lens. So I needed to get a lens because I wanted to get this for 2 reasons. One, I actually have a narrative film that I'm shooting. It was meant to be this week, but then it got postponed to the week after next. And I needed... Stuart, how much was the body? The body was $5,000 Australian. It was $49.99.95 Australian dollars. For some reason, like I got it obviously in Australia. All the shops in Australia had it for either $52.99 or $51.99. But Ted's cameras had it for $49.99. So it's like $200 cheaper to to get it from there. So I was just like, well, I know I can order it from there. I can go pick it up. I went and picked it up this afternoon. Well, this evening, I guess. So I don't know why they're selling it for like $200 cheaper than anyone else, but all the other shops that I found had it for cheaper. Yeah, it's good for Teds. Exactly. Like when I bought my first, when I bought my A7 IV and my FX30, no, the FX30 I bought from DigiDirect. I bought my A7 IV from Teds because they had it cheaper than anywhere else. But then since I think I got my 7200 from Teds as well. But since then, they haven't really been cheaper than anywhere else. So I've gotten from like George's or DigiDirect or Video Pro. But yeah, for some reason, Teds just had it for $200 cheaper than anywhere else in Australia. So yeah, I was just hoping that they were going to get it pretty quickly, and they did. Obviously, like I saw, I think Rubber Monkey posted on their Instagram that they got one of these today, and I was like, oh, that's good. That means hopefully that mine should be coming soon. And then like a couple hours later, I get the email to say that it's ready for pickup. So yeah, I'm really happy with how quick it was, especially since I was worried that it was going to be a long wait, and I was worried that I wasn't going to have it in time for going away. But yeah, so I got the body only because I already got this lens. Anyway, sorry, hold on. This lens I bought because I was going to shoot this narrative project, this short film on the Pixis, which I'm shooting on now, the Pixis 6K, because that's L mount. But I have to give this back to Blackmagic very, very soon. That being said, I'd already decided that I was going to switch to L mount, not switching to Lumix, switching to L mount. So having the Pixis 6K, and then I do plan on at some point getting a 12K, or I'm hoping Blackmagic send me one when they become available. It'll at least, even if it's just for review sort of thing. So I was like, well, if I get a Pixis 12K, I don't want to be then going Blackmagic and Sony when I could be going Blackmagic and Lumix because L mount. So I decided to switch to Lumix. I've sold my A7 IV and my 7200 already, and I'm planning on selling my FX30 and 24-70 as well. Considering maybe picking up an S9 as well, just like with the money from my FX30 sale. Because like, one, I'm gonna have one camera for a while once I send this back to Blackmagic. But I don't know, the S9 kind of, like, back when it came out, it was like, oh, this wasn't for me, I don't care. I wasn't one of the people that got angry about it, but I also wasn't one of the people that defended it or cared about it at all, because it's like, well, it's not for me. But now I'm kind of thinking it could be nice, like, you know, for travel, for like a B or C cam, for just like really easy, quick stuff. And I think with Lumix Lab, and this is actually something that I plan on doing with the S12, is taking photos in JPEG with a LUT already on there, and then just like sending it straight to your phone. Because I basically haven't taken photos much at all for the last like year or two. I did when I first started out with cameras, but for the most part, it's just all been video. And part of the reason is because like, I don't want to just take JPEGs with a Sony camera and then like, that's it. Or I don't want to take RAWs and then have to go and edit them and all that sort of stuff. So if I can just make a nice LUT that I like, or find a nice LUT that I like, and just like shoot photos with that, then maybe I'll start shooting some more photos, especially when I'm like traveling and stuff. But yeah, so I got the 28-105 for the Pixis, and then yeah, I wanted to get, rather than getting like a couple of cine lenses to like build out a cine lens kit, I got this one because I knew I was gonna be switching to Lumix, and I wanted something with autofocus so I can have, you know, a nice versatile autofocus lens to use on the Pixis, hopefully when it gets autofocus, but also to use on this. I'm thinking maybe getting either a 16-28 to just sort of cover that range from 16 and then now all the way to 105, or maybe like a wide prime, like an 18 or a 20, something like that, just to get a bit wider than 28 and to get a smaller body or a smaller lens than this, because this is pretty big. So like traveling with this is like, this is almost the same size as the Sony 7200 GM2. So it's pretty big. But yeah, let's actually talk about the camera. Now, I'm probably gonna like start setting this up and going through the settings and figuring stuff out during this stream, because I have turned it on. I've quickly gone through a couple things, but there wasn't much charge on the battery when I opened the box, so I left the battery on charge for a while, and it's fully charged now. But yeah, I will also be rigging it up because I've got like this cage as well, so I'll put the cage on and everything like that. But let's start by looking at the sensor because I know y'all want to be looking at the sensor. Where are we? I'm going the wrong way. Can I get some light? There we go. So this is this is a 24 megapixel partially stacked sensor. It's the same sensor that's in the Nikon. Well, I don't think this has been confirmed, but it's like everybody knows it. This is the same sensor as the Nikon Z6 III. However, everything I've seen about the Z6 III is like it's really noisy for some reason. But Connor McCaskill did a good comparison between this and the Z6 III, and this just looks better. I don't know why. But 24 megapixels, partially stacked sensor, so that means the readout's going to be decent, and we can talk about the readouts. Oh, Kofi! Uncle Kofi in the building. Thank you for stopping by the stream. I literally watched your stream. Was that today or yesterday? Koi, I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't know what you're saying. More light? Is it too dark? Is this too dark? Should I turn the lighting up? Well, maybe when you're like looking at stuff like this. Kind of dark. Yeah, fair enough. Geekslad, how's it going? It's going pretty well. Just got a new camera, so it's obviously pretty good. What I can do, oh no, I already put that light away. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. Oh wait. There you go. Nah, I'll put another light on when you hold up the camera. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Would be nice. Well, actually, what if I do this? Is that better? Now, it's not going to be great nearly as good quality because this is not a Pixis, but yeah. I like the fact that they have, even though it's like a hybrid body, that they've put on like these nice record buttons. So you got one on top, just like you would on the FX30. And then I like this one because I use this one a fair bit on the FX30. So having that on the front, also really helpful. Can't decide between S12 or the Z6 III. I was literally just talking about that, maybe just before you got in here. From what I've seen, this is better in almost every way. It's the same sensor. This one's just a little bit more expensive, but yeah, same sensor. But from what I've seen, the Z6 III is a bit more noisy than this is, and then this obviously has a lot more features, especially for video. Obviously the Nikon has their like NRAW. I'm looking down at this camera, but this camera is the one that's on right now. Nikon has like, you can do NRAW internal, but you know, if that's a thing that you need, then, you know, maybe go with that. However, this has so many more features, like a lot better anamorphic support. You got OpenGate, you've got better monitoring tools like false color and stuff like that. You've got a lot more choices when it comes to like aspect ratios and bit rates and all that sort of stuff. Fully articulating screen looks so good. Yes, I know. I'm so excited about this. Like, if you didn't know, you know, normal flip screen, right? But then, oh wait, we'll do it this way. But then also classic photography flip screen at the same time. So now I don't know if anybody ever like does both at the same time, but it's nice that you can just do both. So this will be really good if I'm like trying to think of like when I'm going to New Zealand soon on a holiday, and I don't want to have to like rig up a camera and put a monitor on it and everything like that. So this will be good, one, because it has all those video monitoring features in here already. But then I don't need to put a monitor on because I can just like flip the screen up like that. It doesn't make it have Blackmagic Video Assist. You can do, I know, yeah, I saw that. I don't have a video assist, so I kind of want to get one. Maybe I should ask Blackmagic for one when I send the pictures back, because I have really liked using B-RAW, and I actually filmed a video yesterday about B-RAW from the Blackmagic Pixis, and yeah, I'm gonna miss not having it because I have to give this back very soon. But yeah, I should ask if I can get a video assist, because that would be kind of cool to have B-RAW straight out of this. That'll be cool to try. Somebody, maybe Kofi, was it you that said that you were gonna do like a test? I think, yeah, you posted on Threads, didn't you? You were gonna do a test with the B-RAW out of this thing to see if it is better than like the internal modes. What's the viewfinder like? I don't think I'm much of an authority to talk about that, because I basically never use viewfinders. I was one of the people that really liked the fact that the FX3 as well, but I didn't have an FX3. That the FX30 had, hold on, I just got to format this card. I really liked the fact that it didn't have a viewfinder. Waiting my monitor hopefully this week. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll see if I can get one of those as well. Because, yeah, B-RAW is nice. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, viewfinder. So, like, even on my SM4, even for photos, I barely ever use the viewfinder. However, apparently the viewfinder on the SM4 wasn't very good. And as somebody who's never really used viewfinders at all, I didn't really know that it was bad, and I haven't seen a good one. Although I think this does seem better than... Yeah, this seems better than the one on the SM4, but I have heard that it's just, like, the one on the SM4 is not good anyway. I don't know, do we want... Hold on, I don't know why I worried about changing lighting. I can literally... I was at T4. I could have just opened up the aperture a little bit, but then focus is a little bit more annoying. We're at 2.8 now. But yeah, the viewfinder seems pretty good. Like, I feel like I can see so much more than what you can on the SM4. And I mean, to be fair, it's in Vlog right now, so it's not even a nice looking image. Lumix S1II or Sony A7 or Sony AS4? You mean A7 IV? Help me get my first camera. I literally just sold my A7 IV to buy the what is this? The S12. I've never used the S52. Apparently it's pretty good. The A7 IV, you could get an S52 for cheaper than you could get an A7 IV. Or if you had the budget, you could get an S12E, which is the same sensor as the S52, but in this body, in the S12 body, and all the new features and everything like that, just with that older sensor, so it's a bit cheaper. It's like $1,000 Australian cheaper than this, but I think it's also like $1,000 more expensive than the A7 IV. So, it very much depends what you're looking for. The A7 IV is kind of old now. I think it came out in 2021. How old? I don't even know how old the A7 IV is. I think it'd been out for like a year when I got mine. So many questions to ask. This may be my next camera. I have no idea yet. Yeah, no, totally fair. Ask away. I want to like test stuff, and I've got to like set up all my custom settings and everything like that. So by all means, ask questions. I can try and figure stuff out. How do you find working with Panasonic over Sony in terms of workflow, color, low light? Okay, no idea. My first camera was a Lumix. It was a G85. I sold that when I got my FX30, which was 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. But so like the G80, the G series, or the G85 at least, Micro Four Thirds, one of their like super budget cameras, so it wasn't like a good camera, and it was also quite old at the time. So I don't think any experience that I have with Lumix so far can really like inform anything. And I literally picked this up today, and I haven't shot anything with it yet, so I can't really answer that question yet. I think, well, the main reason, and I mentioned this before, the main reason I switched to Lumix was because I'm kind of more switching to Blackmagic and then supplementing that with Lumix. Because right now I'm shooting on the Pixel 6K, and I plan on getting a 12K when they're available. And it just makes more sense to have multiple L mount cameras than it does to have like an L mount and then a bunch of E mount stuff. Plus, Lumix is now offering so many more features when it comes to stuff that I want to do. Like, I don't really care about photos all that much. However, maybe with this, I'll start taking some more photos. But with video, especially with anamorphic, like I have a Blazar Remus, and like since using the Pixis, I've been shooting an open gate and all different aspect ratios and stuff. I literally shot a short film in 2.4:1, like native, like no cropping or anything. It's just like 2:1. There's the footage. Mainly because I didn't, or they didn't want the extra file sizes of OpenGate. But yeah, there's that. Yeah, and as for like color and low light, I can't really talk on that yet because I haven't done any testing yet. That's all things that I'm gonna test and have a look at. However, I did watch Armando's video about the low light between this and the FX3, and this looks so much better than the FX3. To be fair, it's like double the resolution sensor, but still. And I'm really keen to try out the dynamic range boost mode because, you know, for a lot of stuff, rolling shutter not a big deal. So if I'm just doing a talking head, chucking into boost mode, have the sky and full-on shadows maybe in the same shot, we'll see. But then obviously, if you're shooting like fast action stuff, which I do a bit actually, the next film that I am shooting, which will be on this because I won't have the Pixis at the time, that is like a sports film, so I'm gonna have to probably not shoot in the boost mode. Where are we up to? Little concerned of it being future-proof though, as the camera market does advance pretty quick every year. That's fair. However, people are still, like, one of the most popular comparison with this camera was to the FX3, which came out 5 years ago. So I don't know if that's really the case, because, like, yeah, new things do come out every year, but things stay good for so long. Like, I don't think people were really using the original S1, you know, in recent times, but, you know, a camera as good as this one is, with as many features as this one is, I think, unless there's like some big leaps in camera technology, I think this'll be fine for the next few years, easy. And with more people switching to L mount, and with like more companies sort of joining L mount, like you've got Blackmagic, Lumix, and Leica, the lenses hopefully will get sort of more and more available, I guess. And yeah, like this Sigma 28-105 that I've got, it's a pretty solid lens. Where are we up to? Is it just me or is the video jittering? I think I know what that is. If I switch back to this camera, this one's probably fine. I think what it is the cable that I'm using to plug my Pixis into my computer, I can't quite keep up with the data rate. So I think that's what that is. That's, yeah, I don't have a long enough USB-C cable because I'm just using the webcam mode on the Pixis. And the only long USB-C cables I have aren't like super fast. Like they're like this pro grade one here is like, it can, I think it's USB 4. It can do 40 gigabits a second. But it's only like 1.5 feet long. The only long cables that I have are like power ones, so it's not gonna do data quite as good as it could. So yeah, that's probably why that's jittering. But when I plug this in via HDMI, I've got a cam link, so that should be fine once I actually start setting this up. Just want a fantastic hybrid. Yeah, totally fair. I think this will be a fantastic hybrid. From everything I've seen so far, from all the tube douches that got it early and talked about it a bunch when it got announced, it seems like a really good camera, and that's the reason why I bought one, and I sold my Sony stuff for it. But yeah, like although I think if you want like a more of a hybrid, as in like better for photos, The S1R2 is probably better for photos because it is a high resolution and can do like, I don't know if it has different features. I honestly didn't look too much into the S1R2. But I think it would be better for photos than this. That's more of a true hybrid, or maybe leaning towards photo, whereas this is very video leaning hybrid. I have a feeling we'll see Lumix release a flagship S1II in a box style form factor. It'll have optical low pass filter and global shutter. I don't know about the global shutter, but yeah, I would not be surprised if they took basically this camera and put it in a box and gave it like potentially internal LEDs, and like you said, the optical low pass filter. Yeah, add a few more like cinema features and put it in a box. That'd be a camera. Basically just kind of how like the FX3 and the FX6. It could just be that, where you could take the same sensor, put it in a better body for cinema, and there you go. However, I can't remember who talked about it. You know, everyone's been talking about it in their live streams and in the videos about this, that like the number of people that want that are probably a lot lower than what we think, because we are the people that want that. Whereas a lot of people that would be buying cameras like this probably just want a really good photo camera or a really good hybrid camera, and they're not after like a cinema camera. And if you are after a cinema camera, at like the price that would be, like if you turned this into a box camera, it'd probably be a similar price to the Pixis 12K. And I would personally get a Pixis 12K because, well, a S1H2 would probably, or H2, H3, I don't know what they're up to, H2, that would probably have autofocus, wouldn't it? The new 24-60 2.8 for Panasonic looks good. It does. I decided to get this 28-105 though, just because I wanted like one versatile zoom lens. So then it's like, I have this, maybe I'll get a wide zoom as well. Can we focus please? Hello? We lost focus. Why? There we go. Is it? Oh, it's trying. Anyway. Yeah, I wanted to get this and maybe like a wide zoom as well. And then that's it. That's all I have. And then I just get cine lenses from there. Like I'm shooting on the Nisi Athena 40mm right now. Oh, not right now. Right now, this is the Nisi Athena 40mm. I've got a Blazar 33mm that I want to get more of both of those sets, so I can have like a nice clean spherical set, and then like, you know, the set of Blazar Remuses, I want to get the 50 and the 85. But then like there's still things that I need autofocus for, or I need a versatile zoom. So that's when the 28-105, if I have like some videography work, or yeah, just anything that needs autofocus really, like this will do. Doesn't the Nikon Z6 III have a top looking down screen? I don't know if oh, true, yeah. The Z6 III would have a screen. Where are we? What, here? This is where the screen is, I think. Yeah, Nikon and Canon do that, don't they? I've never used a camera that has that, so I don't really. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's probably some cases where that's like kind of helpful, but a lot of times it's probably like like my GH7, not to mention my GH6 and GH5 too. I like to go full frame aside from my D850, not sure which system. Yeah, a lot of people were talking about the GH7 when it came out, but that seemed to die off really quick. And from what I remember, like I think I looked at the price of the GH7 when it came out. It was like 4,000 or 5,000 Australian dollars. This was 5,000 Australian dollars. Now it's like 3. So it's like, why has the price gone down so much on the GH7? Yeah, I don't know. I just think that there's probably some people that are like just full in Micro Four Thirds, and like for some reason that's what they're all about. And then there's everybody else who's like, why would you want a Micro Four Thirds camera? You know, everyone else is just like full frame. I don't know. Isn't lower megapixel better for low light, or is that just a load of rubbish? I think in general, yes, it is like lower megapixel, not necessarily lower megapixel, no, lower megapixel for the size of the sensor, if that makes sense. So it's like the less megapixels or the less pixels a full frame sensor has, then those pixels will be bigger, right? But if you take like 12 megapixels on APS-C and I don't know, 16 megapixels on full frame, those pixels will probably be roughly the same. I don't know if that math is right, but they'll be roughly the same size. So I think it's more about the size of the pixels themselves. So if you take full frame versus full frame, yeah, 12 megapixels versus 40 megapixels, there'll probably be a difference because they can capture more light, I think. However, a lot of it comes down to noise, like, and how the camera deals with noise. And yeah, if anybody watched Armando's video about low light, comparing this to the FX3, this looked cleaner because of its higher resolution versus the lower resolution of the FX3 at like the higher ISOs, like 12,800. Tumo, what up? How you doing? Komodo has a global shutter, so I would expect Lumix to include one on a future. The Komodo, yeah, the KX does have a global shutter, but it's also Super 35. So to get a, like, the only cameras that I know of right now that have a full frame global shutter are the A9 III and the Raptor X from Red. So the A9 III I think is like 8 or 9,000 Australian dollars. You know, almost double, not quite double this, but almost double this. Maybe like 160, 170% of this. And the Raptor's what, 20 grand? So global shutter is super fast readout speed. Well, global shutter is instantaneous readout speeds because there's no rolling shutter. It just captures it all at once. So there's obviously like benefits to that. But apart from the Raptor X, the Red V Raptor X, oh, and I guess the Komodo X. The Komodo X has decent dynamic range, but dynamic range has been a bit of a limitation with global shutter in the past. When people ask what Lumix could do to outperform another camera, the latest full frame releases global shutter. Yeah, I get that, but also, as far as I know, Lumix buys their sensors from Sony, so you would need, then they would need to buy basically they would need to license the A9 III sensor, which didn't have super great dynamic range. So they're not going to start making their own unless they were to go and get the 12K sensor from Blackmagic, the new RGBW sensor that's in the Ursa 12K and the Pixis 12K. If they did that, that could be cool, because then it's sort of like Lumix and Blackmagic working together. I feel like that's probably better. And that 12K sensor in the Ursa at least has a really fast readout speed. Wait till next decade when cameras start shipping with laser sensors. Yeah, I think about like where technology was at like 10 years ago, and then back then, would we have thought that they were where it is now? So just imagine what it's going to be like in 10 years. We probably can't even conceive of some of the stuff that we'll have. Isn't the mechanical shutter 10 FPS? The Z6 III is 14. I don't know. That's probably got nothing to do with the sensor. I imagine that's got to do with the shutter itself. Let's actually see if I can test it. I'll switch over to photo mode. Wait. While I'm here, I'm gonna plug this. I'm gonna see if this works. I'm gonna plug this into my cam link. See if you guys can see the screen on the stream. Because if I'm just like showing you stuff, it's kind of boring. So. Oh, sorry, not showing you stuff. I also keep getting distracted because I haven't even put this cage on yet. Okay, so if I plug that in. Whoa, why did that? Why is my audio too loud? Like, is it? It's not peaking, is it? Hold on, let me just test this real quick. Oh, can I put? Okay, no, I'm not gonna do that. Can I? Don't I have a limiter on here? Oh, I do. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It doesn't sound bad, does it? Double audio? Are you serious? Why?
Oh, because cam link. Okay, no, that's fine. I can turn that off.
Wait,
why? That shouldn't be... Div, volume, 10. Alright, is that better? Did that turn off the... That shouldn't be... Cam link. Properties. Audio. No, I don't want audio. Did that fix it? No, it's still the same. Interesting. Hold on, let me monitor this so I can actually hear it. Monitor and output. Is this doing anything? If I talk into it, no, I can't hear that. But if I do that, I can hear that. But that's twice. Okay.
Okay, so it's the cam link. I gotta figure out what to do here. Okay. I wasn't expecting that to be an issue. Okay, so anyway, what I will do in a second is... Wait, actually, I might even be able to do it right now. If I can figure out... This could just do it. Okay, that was a single photo. Oh, that shutter was like very quiet. How do I turn on burst mode? That's the question. I don't know what all the things mean. Can I... No. Do I have to go into the actual menu to do this? Oh no. I haven't even gone into these menus yet, so I have no idea. Electronic 70 FPS. Yes, I do remember that. Electronic shutter, it has 70 FPS. This camera does. No idea about the shutter type. No idea about what. Okay, that's just taking a single photo. What if I do? What does that do? Oh, okay. So that's the mechanical shutter. If I do that, or is this even faster? Oh, there's the electronic shutter. I don't know if that's 70 seconds, 70 frames per second, but there you go. There's some photos. That's the sound you get for that. I'm gonna switch back to video mode, and I will, once I figure out this audio thing, this should only be going through. Why is that there? Can I not get rid of that? Because I want to get rid of the cam link audio. But it seemed like audio output, put desktop audio. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, what if I... Okay, we're going to test this now. I'm going to turn this back on so I can check it. And it's super annoying hearing myself slightly delayed. Okay. Ooh, sorry about that. Nope. I think the Viewfinder also does 120 FPS. Yeah, I think it does. That sounds familiar. Okay, I need to figure out... Why can I not turn this off? Wait. I need to expand the window so I could uncheck all the boxes. Alright, is this going to do it now? I hope this isn't too loud. We good?
We good? Wait.
Is that good?
Is that good?
Nope.
Nope.
Why? Is that better?
Is that better?
No.
Why? Okay, hold on. Let me get rid of this. Oh.
Specification is crazy for this camera. So tempted. Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, that I don't really care about. The photo features, basically, I don't really care about. It's more videos. That being said, one of the photo features that I really liked about this camera, or that I really like, and I think it might even get me to shoot photos again, is the fact that you can like load LUTs into your photos and then just shoot JPEGs with those LUTs already applied. So then there's no editing, because I don't want to have to edit photos. I don't want to, and I also don't want to just shoot like unedited JPEGs and that's it. So the ability to is similar to like Fujifilm's like recipes and stuff like that, but probably not as good. I don't know. But yeah, it's just like I just haven't ever really shot photos in so long because of that, and like because I don't have Lightroom anymore, and I just don't want to have to edit photos. So I didn't shoot photos. And like even for thumbnails on YouTube, I would just record video and I would make my thumbnails in DaVinci Resolve from a still from a video. But yeah, this might, like the Lumix Lab app might actually make me sort of start shooting photos again, because then I can shoot photos with a LUT on and then transfer it straight to my phone, and then I can like post them on Instagram and stuff like that without having to go through a bunch of extra steps. And that's sort of what I'm hoping that this does for me, and I'm thinking it will for photos specifically. Okay. Why did that happen? What is that? Huh? I'm so confused. Why would we be having multiple? Oh, I know why. Hold on. We got this. Is this doing? No. No, that wouldn't be doing it. Can I? Okay. Maybe let's not worry about that quite yet. If anyone has any ideas or like knows what they're doing with streaming, I haven't streamed much in years. But why would I be getting double audio when I plug in my cam link to this camera? And just for some variety, let's switch back to this camera, because why not? Just need a hybrid, and clearly I'm not going to spend thousands on a camera if it needs to meet my requirements. Yeah, of course. Isn't there a disadvantage to the... Wait, but isn't there a disadvantage to the electronic shutter? I'm not the person to ask about that. I know that there is a disadvantage to electronic shutter versus mechanical shutter. I'm not a photographer. I don't really know. Yeah. Like whenever I have taken photos, I've always used the mechanical shutter on all my cameras, on the Lumix G85, on the A7 IV, and then even on, well, that being said, on the FX30 doesn't have a mechanical shutter. So if I ever took photos with that, it would be with a electronic shutter. But you know, what are you gonna do? I honestly, I never noticed much of a difference with that, but yeah. Okay, I really want to just like plug this in so you can see, but I don't know why. Wait, can I add a compressor? I'm gonna add a compressor on here just to... Can I monitor it? 10? Why are you at 10 to 1? 4 to 1. We'll put it 12. Just so it doesn't like go crazy with it. Why is it so hard to get it to 12? Okay. In just a minute, expand it. Yeah, expand is what we want as well. What's the body build quality like? I swear someone talked about it. It was the side door for the SD cards. It would make a squeak noise. Okay, let's test that. Nope. No squeaking. What I have... That's fine. Cool. I'm just gonna quickly, before I do any more with that, I'm just gonna double check this audio. Is this better? Is there still a double? It kind of feels like there's a double. Is there a double somewhere? Because there should only be one. Volume mono. What if I change this to mono? Does that do anything? No? Yes? I don't know. Anyway. Maybe a review unit. That's good. Yeah. It could have been. Well, yeah, it would have been because they only started shipping like today or whatever. Like I only saw shops getting them today. Mine came in that I ordered 2 weeks ago. It came in today. So I'm pretty sure it would have had to have been a pre-production unit if that was the case. As for the overall like build quality, somebody said, actually, I think I watched another one of Armando's videos that he just made like yesterday or something like that, about like the things that he doesn't like about the S12 versus Sony, and like the things that he thinks that they don't do as well as Sony. And one of the things was the build quality, is that it just feels a little bit not as like solid and a little bit plastically. Honestly, this quite plasticky. The door for the cards, it was heavier than I thought it was going to be. I was a bit surprised, given that I'd heard that it was, you know, maybe not up to the like Sony feel of the standard of build quality, but it's actually reasonably heavy and it feels very solid. Like it doesn't feel like I'm going to squish it or break it or bend it or anything like that. Yeah, there's a little bit of like plasticky feel, and the texture, I guess, is a little bit different, but I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. What I will say is some of the buttons aren't the nicest feeling. Like the shutter button, I don't like how squishy it is. I really like the shutter button on the FX30 because it's a nice click. And what I sort of figured out, I'll take this lens off so you can see this. I'll focus so you can see it. This button here, that has a nice click to it, versus the shutter button, which does not. So I don't get why they didn't just make the shutter button feel like that, because that just feels so much better than the shutter button itself. Was that Sigma zoom lens you have in the Panasonic? How's that? This is the Sigma 28-105. I haven't had it very long, and I've only used it on the Pixis so far, but it seems really, really good. It's got a little bit of distortion at the wide end. Actually, probably the biggest thing that I have with it, and that's only because I've been using it on the Pixis, which doesn't have continuous autofocus, is the manual focusing experience isn't great. It's not linear, it's definitely nowhere near Cine lens like standards when it comes to focusing. So like you can't just get really consistent like focus racks and stuff because it's not linear. So like it is acceleration based. That being said, it's still not super consistent. So it is, yeah, it's very hard to get like repeatable or like accurate focus unless you go really slow. So, and that's one of the things I was worried about with using this lens on the Pixis for the next short film that I'm shooting, because it was going to be like manual. Either I'm pulling it by hand while shooting, or my first AC is pulling it with the Tilta Nucleus Nano 2, and that was just not going to be great. But it's good that we now can shoot on this because I now have this, so we'll probably just use autofocus a lot of the time, honestly. We had a chance to shoot some photos and edit raw files. I have not. I haven't shot anything with it. I literally got it like a couple hours ago, charged the battery, and then started the live stream. So haven't shot anything with it yet. As for like editing raw files, when it comes to the photos, I'm probably not even going to do that. As I was saying earlier, I'm not planning on shooting in RAW at all because I'm not a photographer. I don't really even take photos, and I haven't really been taking photos for the last couple of years. But I'm hoping that with the Lumix Lab app and the fact that I can put LUTs on photos that I can then just share straight to my phone, that I'll be able to just take more photos a bit. Just take photos more and not have to worry about editing, because I'm not a photographer. I don't want to edit photos. So yeah, not planning on shooting in RAW at all. Just shoot JPEGs. Use the same Panasonic battery as the S12. Yeah, it's the, yeah, you're right, PQ, the BLK22. So this is the, hold on, let me focus. This is the battery. BLK22, it is, what is it? Does it say? No, it says here. It's 2200 milliamp hours, which I think is a bit smaller than the Sony's, or maybe it's actually the same as the Sony FZ100s. I did hear somebody say the battery life on this wasn't great. That doesn't really bother me that much, because most of the time I'm running it off a V-mount anyway, because I like rig it up as if it's a bigger camera. That being said, I did also buy, I ordered two of the small rig BLK 22s with the USB-C port on them, so I can just like charge them with USB-C, and then they're also like half the price of the Panasonic ones. And for my Sonys, I like always had Sony batteries until Lano actually sent me some Sony chargers. Actually, they sent me a couple of these chargers. Well, this one is the one with the power bank in it, and then they sent me one without the power bank, but they came with 2 batteries. And I never really had any issues with those batteries, but I always just use the Sony ones. But with this one, I'm just like, I don't need many batteries, but having a couple spare, like 1 or 2 spares would be good. But yeah, like I trust small rig. I have a bunch of small rig V-mount batteries, so I don't think there'll be any issues using small rig batteries with this. And yeah, like I said, actually, I think they actually went on special when I ordered them. So they were like $40 each, like $42 each, I think, the small rig ones, versus the Panasonic ones are like 110 each Australian. So yeah, I could have bought, I bought 2 for less than what it would have been to buy one like first party one. So I think that was sort of the way to go with that for me personally, just because I don't need to be like relying on individual batteries all the time, because I so often just have it plugged in to a V-mount. That being said, maybe I should get a dummy battery for this, because on Lumix cameras, one thing that is really good is they have the little like door, like the little rubber door. Where are we? We'll do this so you can actually see it. I know this is a bit dark because there's no light over this part of the room, but where are we? There. So this here, that little square, that's like a little rubber flap that folds down, so you can run the cable of a dummy battery out without having to either leave the door open or take the door off like you do with Sony. And that I really liked with my G85 back when I used to stream a lot, because like I literally bought, when I bought my G85, I bought a dummy battery at the same time as well, because streaming was like one of the main things that I was going to be doing. So I was like, well, I should get a dummy battery. And yeah, so if I do end up getting a dummy battery for this to then go to like a D-tap to plug into a V-mount battery or a V-mount plate, then it'll be a lot easier to use then with Sony, because you don't have to worry about the door at all. Tilta, I think, also do third-party Panasonic batteries, and I think the battery itself has USB-C port on it. Yeah, I don't know about it having a USB-C port, but I know they have those like 4 battery chargers that can come with batteries in them. Yeah, I haven't used the Tilta ones, but they seem decent. I also don't know anything about Panasonic batteries really, because I've really only cared about Sony for so long that I don't really know. Do you plan to record externally to SSD or internally? If internally, what cards do you plan to use? Haha, how there's massive variety when it comes to overheating caused by CF Express. Yes, I have heard about that. I think that was on the S1R2 though, not the S12. So I don't know. Right now, I've got a pro grade 1 terabyte CF Express Gold card. Now they're actually also doing, like Lumix themselves are doing like right now a like a deal, like when you buy one of these bodies, either this, the S12E, or the S1R2, you get a 512 version of this exact card. So I like once you register for your warranty, and then they just ship it to you. So like I did that earlier today or earlier tonight. So I've got that on the way. I have this 1 terabyte CF Express Type A card, and then I'm not going to get it out of the Pixis, but in the Pixis right now, I have a 2 terabyte version of the same card, the ProGrade Gold card, and then that one ProGrade sent me, and then they also sent me a 1.6 terabyte Iridium card, and like I really like those Iridium cards. I don't know why I've never had any issues with the gold ones, but the Iridium ones are just better, faster, more reliable. Not that I've ever had any issues with the others, but yeah. So I'll probably, at least once I have to give this Pixis back, I'll probably use the 1.6 terabyte Iridium card in there from ProGrade. Now those ones pretty expensive, whereas the gold ones are a lot cheaper. I bought this 1 terabyte one. I'm trying to remember how much it was. It was definitely cheaper than a 1 terabyte SD card. This also does have an SD card port, so I've got a ProGrade Platinum. I actually don't know what, like, it's a V90 128 gig card. Oh wait, if I switch camera, I don't have to change focus if I just switch to this camera. Yeah, so that's the SD card that I've got. And then there's the CF Express Type A card. And that's one thing that I'm like a little bit not jazzed about with this camera, is that it's got 2 different ports. Like, why not just have, I mean, I understand why you wouldn't have 2 CF Express Type B ports, because that takes so much more space and more power and more heat. But it just means you can't then dual record to 2 CF Express Type A cards. And because you'll be limited in some of the modes, you won't be able to record some of the modes to an SD card. And also SD cards generally lower capacity than CF Express Type B. So dual recording is probably not going to be a big thing. Yeah. I'm not sure about overheating. I will see how that goes. Hoping it doesn't have any overheating issues. But yeah, I currently only have ProGrade CF Express Type A card, CF Express Type B cards, and then I've got a ProGrade SD card, and I've got another SD card somewhere as well. But no current plans to record to an external SSD as of now. Yeah, I just don't really have a reason to at the moment. Now that I have like what, 4.5 terabytes of CF Express Type B cards that I won't have in another camera once I give this Pixis back to Blackmagic. So I'll have plenty of storage for CF Express Type B cards. I have the A7S3, by the way, and now planning on getting another camera to go Panasonic. Fair enough. Want more megapixel? 12 is too low. It's been great, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I need more. I think 24 is sweet spot. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. That's the thing with the A7S3 and FX3, is that lower megapixel, the 12 megapixel sensor, but then of course no open gate, so it's really 10.2, because you can only shoot video in 16:9. So yeah, that's just sort of like, it's fine for a lot of things, but it's also just not ideal for a lot of things as well. I think it's great they did 2 different cards as this camera. It's for hybrid shooters, and SD cards are cheap, and you can have SD card slot on MPBs. Yeah, that's totally fair. And that's something that may be in the settings, but I haven't gone through the settings yet. But yeah, like if you want to shoot video on the CF Express card and then shoot photos to the SD card, or there should be a setting for. I don't know if there's settings for this, but you could potentially do, if you're shooting video, you could have the main files going to the CF Express Type B and then proxies going to the SD card. Yeah, they're kind of the only options, really. Like full-size videos and proxies. And then you've got videos and photos. Oh, and then for photos, you could have like RAWs onto one and JPEGs on the other. Again, I'm guessing here, but that would be sort of a good way to do that if it is possible. It would make sense to have 2 CF Express. That being said, yes, it would be good to have 2 CF Express card slots. However, I literally never dual record, even on the Pixis. Just because it's just so much space. Like, not that you're copying it off both. You're just gonna, like, you copy it off one and you just keep the other one there as backup sort of thing. But I like never used both. I just don't dual record really ever. So yeah, and I've never had any issues with any cards on my cameras. I think the only time that I've experienced an issue with the card was just because the camera was shooting on a Red Komodo X, which only has one card slot. The battery died, so the clip that we were currently shooting got corrupted, and we were worried that everything we shot that day got corrupted, but it was only just that one clip. Proxies to one card, main footage to a second. I believe the option was already on the S52X. Yeah, nice. So that's good. If that was a feature on the S52X, I don't see why it wouldn't be in this, and that would probably be something that I would potentially do. But honestly, not even like, it's not even that useful. A lot of like for me, unless I was going to like maybe copy the proxies without copying the full size ones, and then edit with proxies, and then later transfer the like full size files. Because usually what I do with proxies, and I've been using proxies lately for the last few months, I just like switched it on randomly, like on, not randomly. I decided to switch it on my Sony cameras, and yeah, I've just been using proxies. But it's like, why have them on 2 different cards if you can just record both of them to the same card? You copy the main files and then you copy the proxies. I just put them in a different, I just put all the proxies for like one project or one day of a project or something like that. I'll just put all the proxies. Actually, I think for each project, yeah. For each project, I'll just make a proxies folder and just put all the proxies in that. So then when I go in Resolve to link the proxies, then I just have to, you know, select all the clips, link or relink proxy media, and then just find that folder, and then all the proxies should be good. And then I set like hotkeys on my keyboard to switch between proxies and like the full resolution media. Okay. Why? Okay. How can I do this? While we're talking, I'm gonna try to figure out how to plug this in without doing the whole. What if I turn audio off? If I just mute it. Okay, I've muted the audio. Now I'm going to, regarding corrupted files because battery died, there is a new option that can cut files in intervals, so you'll only lose last bit. Yeah, if you record very long takes, that's fair. I mean, this one was just like, it wasn't long takes in particular, but it's just like nobody checked what the battery was like, and that's one of the things why I like on my cameras to run an internal battery, even if I'm running off a V-mount, because if that happened on like the Pixis, for example, if that happened to me, my battery died, all that would happen is my monitor and transmitter would die. The camera could keep recording because I've got a battery in it. I got a BPU battery for this Pixis, purely for redundant power supply, and I always do it with my mirrorless cameras as well. I'll leave, rather than using a dummy battery, I'll leave the battery in there, charge it, and like power it via USB-C. So then you've got that sort of backup. And I'm trying to think if it's happened while shooting. I think I don't know if there actually has been any times where it's happened while shooting, but it's like, yeah, if like while you're shooting, if you notice things die, if the V-mount battery dies, the camera will keep recording. So it'll either give you time to finish the take or whatever, but no, don't go to sleep yet. Hold on, stay. It's sort of like a UPS, basically. Like, it gives you time to safely shut everything down, or in the case of this, just maybe replacing a battery without having to stop recording. So it's like, it's not going to have that issue if you have that redundant power supply. Okay. Monitor and output. Okay, so I'm listening, and cam link is plugged in. Oh, are we good? Okay, I think we're good. That sounds fine. No double audio. Okay, I literally muted the camera, so we're good. Let me know if there's still audio issues. But what we can do now is, if I put the cam link, why are you so big? I'm gonna put this over the top. I'm gonna put it, wait, if I sit, well, actually, what if I just do this? Put myself over there, and then I'll put the camera over there, and I'll put it There we go. Aha, we have an image. Nice. So let's go through the settings. Let's figure out what the hell I'm going to do here. Actually, is there anything before I do that? Is anybody here particularly wanting any answers to questions? They want somebody to test something before I just start going through the settings? Let me know in the comments now. Otherwise, I'm just going to start like basically setting up my custom settings and figuring out how the menu system on this thing works. Because apparently the menu system on this is not the best. And especially coming from Blackmagic, like we're shooting on the Pixels right now, the Blackmagic menu system is really, really good. I need to focus a little bit closer. Yeah, the Blackmagic menu system is really good. Apparently the Lumix one, not as much. And from what I've seen so far, like literally just going in to look at it, doesn't seem as intuitive even as Sony. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Also, there isn't even a dedicated menu button. You have to hold the quick menu button, which feels a little weird, I think, unless I'm doing something wrong and there is actually a menu button. But yeah, so I'm in video mode, I'm in manual. Now the front dial doesn't do anything. The back dial changes shutter speed. What I want to do though is change to shutter angle. That's probably the first thing I should look for. Same setting as, wait, are these? One of the annoying things I'm seeing here is there's no numbered custom buttons. Like you can't just be like, okay, custom 1, custom 2, custom 3. Blackmagic is more for videography, isn't it? That's this issue. Otherwise, I'd be buying Sony and Pan. Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say videography. Blackmagic is more for cinematography. At least when it comes to like the Pixels, for example, it's a box camera. It's not. You're not gonna take. It's not hybrid. You're not gonna take photos with it. Even the cinema, like the pocket cinema camera and the cinema camera 6K, the full frame, any of those ones. They're not photo cameras. They're just a similar shape to photo cameras, which I always found weird. Like, why are you making a camera that's not for photos, but you're making it shaped like a photo camera? I always found that weird. And that's why I was so excited when the Pixels came out, because it's like, okay, well, that's what I'm looking for. And especially with the Pixels 12K. But Blackmagic is much more for video than it is for photo. So it's not a hybrid. I wouldn't necessarily recommend a Blackmagic camera if you're purely, if you want like a hybrid camera. Now I think that's sort of one of the reasons why I got this, is because I wanted to get a hybrid camera because I plan on getting the Pixels 12K. So like, if I need either a small camera and a camera with good autofocus or a hybrid to take photos, the Pixels 12K is not the way to go. So that's sort of one of the reasons why I went with this. Okay, so this is so you can customize the quick menu. That makes sense. Okay. How do I get to the actual menu? Am I not, oh. I found it. This is so dumb. Where are we? Yeah, it says menu right there. I was looking for the menu button and I couldn't find it. I was like, oh, you gotta hold the quick menu button, but that's just customizing the quick menu. You just press the menu button. I'm glad that was live. Anyway, that was so silly. Okay. Photo style. Well, we're not in photos, but sure. Oh yeah, you can see this. Cool. Oh, that's cool. How you can see the footage. You can see what the camera's seeing as well as the menu. That's kind of cool. I wonder if we can just make the menu bigger. Dual native ISO setting auto. Okay, so that's gonna have to be probably what I'll do. Dynamic range boost. Did that crop in? What? Wait. Can you not do that? That changes it to 4K. It was in 6K open gate. Can you not use the boost mode in 6K open gate? Anyway, we'll get to that. I'm gonna turn it off for now. What about 422? I've seen some 6K modes only drop to 420. Yes, a lot of the higher resolution and higher frame rate modes on this camera only do 420. I would actually recommend going and watching Kofi's video comparing the FX2 to the S12E, because in that he did a comparison between 422 and 420. And spoilers, not many people are going to notice a difference, and you can get basically the same thing. Apparently 422 is really good for like green screen stuff, like when you're doing chroma keys, but for the most part 422 and 420, you're not going to notice a huge difference. It's still 10-bit, so it's not like it's 8-bit or something. If it was 8-bit, yeah, there would be a big difference. But 422 and 420, apparently not a massive difference. You can shoot, I think, 422 in 4K up to 30 frames per second, I think. I haven't gone through all the modes yet. Actually, I wonder, where is that? Oh, record quality. There we go. And this might even say, okay, well, you want to go through all the 11 pages of this. Is that big enough? Can you read that? I might make this a little bit bigger. Oh, that's the wrong one. I'm going to make this bigger so you can just read this. Okay. So 6K, so we're in 25 P, or 25 Hertz. So we're going to, I shoot everything in 25, and then if I do slow-mo, it would be 50 or 100. Not that I really do much slow-mo basically ever, but sometimes for like B-roll, I'll do some slow-mo, but most of the time it's not. So 6K 25, 420, 10-bit long op. That's like the open gate mode. So it's also got, as you can see, where are we? The top, I don't know why I'm trying to point. The top line under MOV full frame, then you've got the resolution and the aspect ratio. I don't know why I couldn't say that. Don't think I'll ever need 8K, 6K max. That's fair. 6K does seem like a bit of a sweet spot. I really like shooting on 6K in Pixis, and this camera does 6K, and I'm really keen to shoot in 6K, because like it's good that you can just shoot in 6K, but then like you export in 4K, and then you have a bit of extra room. Also, yeah, like shooting in open gate 6K, then you know cropping to vertical can be a lot easier as well, and then you can also crop to horizontal. But having, yeah, but it's also not like so much bigger like 8K would be, for example. That being said, Pixis 12K can do 12K, 8K, 4K. I was originally thinking that I'd probably just shoot, like when I eventually get that camera, I was thinking I'd probably shoot in 4K a lot, but I'm thinking I might actually shoot in 8K more. Either it would be 4K at a like lower compression rate, or it would be like 8K but fairly compressed. Like right now, literally everything that I've shot with the Pixis 6K, I've shot in 12:1 compression, and it's looked pretty good. I haven't noticed any issues. That being said, I haven't shot in the lower compression modes to notice the difference, but anyway. So we've got this in MOV. By the way, if you shoot in MP4, you don't have nearly as many options for this. So we've got 3x2, 420 10-bit long op. That's 200 megabits a second. That's probably what I'll shoot in a lot of time if I want open gate. If I don't want open gate, then I'll just shoot in one of the other. Well, I'll get to that. So 6K, and then so you can shoot 50p, but that is 2:4:1. So you can shoot 50 frames per second in 6K. Rackens Arena, welcome. How you doing? Just a newbie? Oh, interesting. Interesting. First, if you're just starting out, interesting piece of content to be consuming, but welcome. Yeah, so we've got, you can shoot 50p at 6K, well, 5.9K in 2:4:1 50p. Then you've got 2:4:1 all the same, and then you can also shoot S and Q for that. So that's just 2:4:1 25, and that's 200 megabits a second. Then you've got a slightly smaller 16:9, so it's not quite the full width. Any worthy camera around $500. Considering we're currently looking at a $5,000 camera, I don't know. I don't think there are really any good cameras at that price. If you have a decent phone, that's probably the best you're going to get for that. Yeah, if you don't have a decent phone, spend $500 and a bit more upgrading your phone, and then you've got a pretty decent camera. But yeah, $500 these days, you're not really going to get anything particularly great. I would say minimum, you'd be looking at like, not that I really know because I don't really look at those sort of cameras anymore. I would imagine be more looking at like 1,000 to 1,500 sort of range for like a solid camera. Also depends on what currency you're talking about. Like there's a $5,000 Australian dollar camera, whereas in American dollars it's what, 3,200, I think. Yeah, it's just over $3,000. So like the Lumix S9, for example, which has this, I don't know what sensor it has, but it's same resolution as this with some of the same features, but not as many of the capabilities. Yeah, US dollars. Yeah, 500 US dollars. I don't really know what you could get. You probably for like 1,000, you could probably get a bit more, and definitely for like 1,500, you could get some pretty solid stuff. But yeah, I'm not super sure. The S9, as I was saying, I'm actually considering getting an S9 as well. The S9 is about $2,000 to $2,500 Australian, so I would guess that would be like between that, yeah, 1 to 1.5. Aiming for Xiaomi 14T. Yeah, I don't know anything about Xiaomi phones, so I can't really help you with that. Anyway, so we've got 5888 by 3312, 16 by 950p. Then you've got the same thing in 25p, and you can shoot S&Q. So that's good that you can just shoot in 25p, but record in... You don't know how S&Q works. Assuming it's the same on Sony, I imagine it is. S&Q means you shoot it, like the file will be in 25, but you record in 50, so then it automatically slows it down for you, so then you don't have to do that in post. Okay, then we've got our 5.8K. So we've got some 6Ks, some 5.9K, some 8K. So there's 17 by 9, so you're losing a little bit more width, and obviously some height. 5.8K long up. Haven't seen any all intra yet, which is interesting. What are we at? 5.8K 25. That's 17 by 9. Then you've got your 5.1K 3x2, which is, so these two. This is if you're wanting to shoot open gate 50p. So if you want to shoot open gate 50 or 60 frames per second, so you want to shoot slow-mo open gate stuff, you have to go down to 5.1K instead of 6K. And honestly, that seems fine. Like, it's fair enough. I'm not sure. That's something that I'll have to test as to whether that crops in at all, because it's like, it is less resolution. So are you then cropping in a little bit? Not sure. That's something I'll try and figure out. So you've got your 5.1K. Again, these are all 10-bit long up. Then you got your 4x3 modes, so 4.8K, so 4800 by 3600. Apparently, we can thank Ken Mackey for that, because he asked Lumix to put 4x3 in these cameras. 3x3, and then you got your APS-C mode, so you can shoot 100 frames a second in 33. So this 4x3, 3328 by 2496, 100p. Again, 420. 10-bit long up, and then okay, then now we're getting out to our first all intra. We've got 4x3. Is this APS-C mode? Yeah, so APS-C mode 4x3 422. So we got 422 all intra. You can shoot that at 50p. So 3328 is not quite as wide as like 4K. 4K is 3840 wide, but the 2496 is taller than 4K is tall, because that's 2160. So yeah. Oh, and actually, if you look at that, if you see when I switch between these two, the H, so we've got 800 megabits a second, 50p, 600 megabits a second in, that's also 50p. What's the difference? Is it just, it's the same thing but in different bit rates? It looks like high and low. The high one you cannot record to the SD card, because yeah, no way a V90 SD card is gonna be able to handle 800 megabits a second. But you can do 600 megabits a second apparently. More 4x3, 422, 420. Still there's a lot of 4x3 modes. And then you've got your, and then we go to our DCI 4K or Cinema 4K. DCI 4K is 17:9 and it's 4096 by 2160. So you've got 420 10-bit, 422, so this is 50p, 422 10-bit, that's 800 megabits a second, all intra. Honestly, I probably won't shoot all intra. I never did on my Sonys, never really noticed an issue. Although I have been liking B-RAW, so maybe all intro will be a little bit closer to B-RAW than long op is. I'm not 100% sure about that. But we got 17:9, 50p, so that's 422 10-bit long op. Then we got 50p 420. Then we got 50p 8-bit. Oh, why we're down to 8-bit? Why are we going 8-bit? Oh my gosh. Cinema 4K 422 10-bit all intra. 400 megabit a second. 150 megabit a second. Still 422 10-bit. That's interesting. Oh, that's long op. So this is actually very similar to the Sony XAVC S. Yeah, because it's the long op 4K 25 10-bit 422 is 140 megabit a second. So this is very similar. This is 150. Could be because it's DCI 4K, so it's slightly wider, but I'm not sure. Another 420. We're only on page 5 of 11, by the way. There's so many pages of this. It is kind of ridiculous. Also, I only just noticed that you've got the proxy available there as well, so you can shoot proxies of stuff. Yeah, more 8-bit. 2:4:1 4K, or yeah, Cinema 4K, or whatever they're calling it. So you can shoot 100p in 2:4:1 4K 10-bit. That's 420. 422 there, more all intra. 422. So it looks like a lot of the 422 modes are all intra. Not all of them though. A little bit more 8-bit. 8-bit. 150 megabit a second? Damn, okay. Oh, but that's 50p. That makes sense. Yeah, there's just so many. I feel like there would be a better way to do this. Like, you should be able to choose your aspect ratio. You should be able to choose your bit depth, so 10-bit, 8-bit, and you should be able to choose your, I don't think it's codec. It might be, no, it's not codec, but like long op versus, is it container? I'm not sure. But long op versus all intra, you should be able to choose like those things, and then it'll give you your options of the resolutions you can shoot or stuff like that. Rather than just having, what is this, 11 pages, 6 per page. There's over 6, there's probably 60 something. Oh, and then here we go. We got our 16:9, like UHD 4K 422, 420. It's still 50p, and then all intra for that. 422 10-bit longer. So this would be the 3840 by 2160, 25p, 422 10-bit long op. That is what I always shot in on my Sonys from XAVC S. There's just so many. 8-bit, 10-bit all intra for 200p full HD. Yeah, now we're all the way down to full HD right now. There's still so many options for full HD. I find it interesting that you can't shoot like 3x2 in other resolutions. You can shoot 3x2 in 6K. You can shoot 3x2 in 5.1K, right? Yeah, 5.1K. I don't think you can shoot 3x2. There's a lot of 4x3s, but I don't think. No, this is all 17x9, 241, 241, 16x9. Yeah, you can't shoot 3x2 in anything other than 6K and 5.1K, which I find a little bit odd. It's like if they're gonna like line skip or pixel bin anyway. Am I too close or too far away? That's better. Yeah, anyway. So let's go 3x2. Honestly, I'm probably gonna shoot it in this mode the most, and then if I need 50p, then I'll either shoot in 241 if I need if 241 is fine, or if I need a no 60. Oh yeah, so or I could shoot 5.9K 50p in 16x9, or if I want to go down to wait, wasn't there a 40? No, there's no 42 there. The 5.1K 50p to shoot in 3x2. So if you want 3x2, then you need to go down to the 5.1K. Anyway, that was and you can make it looks like you've got my list. So hopefully that means that you can just like set the ones, like the handful that you're like, I'm gonna use this, and this. They're the only ones that I'll really ever go to much. So hopefully you can just put those in proxy settings. Cool. And yeah, if we change to MP4, so many of those options are gone. Okay, so then you can go full APS-C or pixel by pixel, that's an interesting one where it's just like, okay, whatever resolution you're shooting it just uses. Oh wait, hold on, do I have to reset this? There we go. Oh, why'd you get small? Yeah, pixel by pixel is interesting. Now there's a lot fewer options when you're shooting an MP4, and you can't shoot anything other than 16x9. So yeah, not gonna do that. But then you also have your APS-C mode, and yeah. Anyway, I also have no. Oh, that's why that changed. That makes sense. Where are we? A little bit smaller. There we go. Okay. Time code. HDMI raw data. Okay, so if you wanted to go raw out to like we were talking about earlier, the Blackmagic Video Assist, if you want to shoot B-RAW, and you can also probably shoot ProRes RAW on like a Ninja or something like that. AF detection setting on, detecting subject, human. Yep, that makes sense. Cool. Urban sports mode, that's so funny that they just added that. Yeah. Anyway. AF setting video, AF custom setting. What does that mean? I'm gonna have to figure out so many of these settings and what they all mean. Focus limiter. AF assist light. Probably won't. I might turn that off. Focus peaking. Okay, cool. You can change that. Focus frame moving speed. I assume that means that how closely it tracks or how quickly it switches between subjects. Again, these are all things I'm gonna have to go into. You got all your audio recording. One of the really good things about these Lumix cameras is and it's annoying that you can't just do it in the camera itself, but if you get the XLR module that you put on the top of the camera, you can record internal 32-bit float. And I've recorded basically everything in 32-bit float for ages now, probably since I got the wireless, the Rode Wireless Pro, unless I was using a boom. And then since I got the Comica VM40, I basically now only shoot on, or like record on one of those two different mics. The Rode Wireless Pro for like labs, or the Comica VM40 for like shotgun. And I basically just use 32-bit float, the internal recording, because both those can do internal 32-bit float on the mics themselves. So it'd be nice if I can just have 32-bit float in the camera itself, so then I don't have to record separately. I can just have a mic that goes in, and then that's it. Cool. More audio settings. Silent mode. Image stabilizer. This is one thing that Lumix does really, really well. They're basically the best in the game when it comes to image stabilization. You've got your E stabilization, cropless. Maybe cropless doesn't work. Maybe cropless doesn't work in 3x2 open gate. I don't know. Plenty good cameras, 500 range, good video as well. Canon, Sony, Nikon. What are they though? Like, I'm not super aware of like all the cameras that are at that sort of price. But as far as I know, there aren't really, unless you're getting old ones, which is totally fair, I guess, if you can get like used ones. But I don't know. I don't really know about, like, I know what Nikon recently, or Canon, R50, Z50, something like that. One of them came out with, or maybe both of them came out with something like that. This is like that, like, entry level. And then you've got like I wouldn't recommend like a Sony ZV-1, any of those. ZV-E10, yes, maybe. Well, the ZV-E10 II is like probably as low as I would sort of recommend. That being said, it doesn't even have stabilization, which, yeah, I don't know. For a lot of people that would be using that, that's probably important. You got anamorphic stabilization on this. That's kind of cool. And you set it for your anamorphic squeeze, which is nice. I'll have to test that out, see how that goes. Self timer, focus transition. Nice, cool. We like that. That's a cool feature. I'm glad that that's in this, just in the software of or in the firmware of the camera. That'll be cool, because then it basically means you can have like, you can program focus racks and just like set it, be like, okay, focus now, and it'll just rack to that point that you already set. So it's like having a first AC that has their marks already without having a first AC. Loop recording. It would be nice, and maybe it is somewhat. Oh, there you go. Figured it out. Yeah, so you press the display button to bring up the description of what that does. Continuous recording will automatically delete the oldest recording as required. Ooh, that's a weird setting. Interesting. Okay. Segmented file recording. Records video creating multiple segmented files on set duration. So that's, somebody actually said that before. And you can do that sort of to protect, I guess, to limit the risk of corrupting files if something happens during shooting. All right, image quality, we're in Vlog, real-time LUT. I wonder what LUT this is. Like, sample LUT 1. And you can change the LUT opacity, that's cool. And you can make adjustments. So what I'll probably do is make a LUT. Although real time, I don't know if this is like then embedded in the file itself. But yeah, I'll probably have to make like a Vlog monitoring LUT to monitor with this, so I can, monitor it properly. Meeting mode, dynamic range boost. Now, if I turn that on, right, I want to then go back to, where were we? So that then changed it. Okay, so the dynamic range boost turns off a bunch of, okay, cool. So it just grays them out, but it doesn't get rid of them entirely. Aha, dynamic range boost, you can't shoot open gate. Well, you can't shoot 6K open gate. You can shoot, oh, you can't even shoot 3x2 at all. Damn, that sucks. That's annoying. All right, well, I guess, so you can shoot 6K 2:4:1 or 16:9 in 5.9K and 17:9 in 5.8K And then you've got your cinema 4K, or your 17:9. You got some 17:9, some 16:9, and 241. Ah, that's annoying. I was hoping that I could just switch on the dynamic range boost mode like whenever, but I guess you can't do that in OpenGate. Interesting. Dynamic range boost mode. We'll turn that off for now. But I guess, like, yeah, if you're gonna shoot something other than 6K OpenGate, and that's fine. I'll just shoot 16:9 or 241 or something like that. Dual native ISO setting. Now I wonder, because the dual native ISO on this is 640 and 5000. What I would like to do, what does that do? Fine adjustment, shutter speed. I want to find where shutter angle is. But the dual native ISO setting, if I set it to low, hopefully I can assign the ISO button to, yeah, hopefully I can assign the ISO button to just switch between the two bases. And that's basically what I did on the FX30, is I would just switch between 800 and 2500. Yeah, anyway. Vignetting shutter speed, gain operation. Okay, we'll go angle and ISO. That's what we want to go. We want shutter angle. Vignetting compensation on, color shading, diffraction compensation, filter setting. Okay, this is all stuff that I'll look at later. Okay, now I've been through all that. Cool. Now let's go here. So wait, I already went through all this, didn't I? Did I go through? No. LUT library. Cool. So we got sample LUTs. Vlog 709. Cool. All right. So I'll put LUTs on there. I'll probably just make like a basic monitoring one, which what I did for my Sony like monitoring LUT is I would just do the CSTs. So color space transform from S-Log3 to DaVinci Intermediate, and then I would do like a curve exposure adjustment to like what I liked, and then CST back to, or not back to, CST to Rec 709, and I exported that as a LUT, and I put that in my FX30 and all my monitors. So then and it's annoying that all my monitors look, you know, slightly different. So they were like, the LUT works differently on a monitor versus directly through the camera, and that's why one of the things I didn't like about the SM4 is because there's no LUT support. So that means I had to use a LUT on a monitor, and it's just not ideal. But yeah, so I'll figure out what sort of what sort of exposure I guess I want to go with, and just put like a monitoring LUT on there so it like looks nice and neutral. I'm not sure if anyone knows with Lumix, does Vlog like to be overexposed like S-Log3 does? Like S-Log3, if you don't overexpose, it can be noisy. But I have not used Vlog at all. So like if anyone knows about Vlog, should I use the standard Vlog to Rec 709 LUT? Should I make my own? And if I make my own, should that have some exposure adjustment in there? Exposure offset, face priority, multimetering, auto white balance, color space. Everything separate. Cool. Yeah. Well, I want to keep everything separate in photo and video modes, so it's not yeah, because I want to keep them separate, because I'll definitely want to keep different settings. This is all mostly photo stuff. Assign record to shutter button. I'm gonna turn, I don't know, should I leave that on or off? Because I've always done that in all my cameras, but yeah, I might as well leave it on, because like I'm not gonna use it to take photos in video mode unless but like I don't want to change the already built-in record buttons, because they're just so nice, like big red record buttons, that I'm not going to change them. I changed it on my A7 IV, but I didn't change any of them on the FX30. Cool. Quick menu settings. Okay, that will go in and item customize. Yeah, nice. This is all stuff that I'm not going to do live. I'll do another time. Touch settings. Touch AF. So apparently one thing with these Lumix cameras versus Sony that they don't do as well as Sony is touch tracking. You can't just tap on a thing and it'll just track it. You have to like, either you like tap on a thing and then like hit another button to say yes, track this thing, or you like open up tracking and then you touch it or something like that. I can't remember, but it's like, it's at least a 2-step process, where on Sony is just, whatever you tap, it'll track. So hopefully that gets improved, you know, at some point over time. Lock lever setting. Well, that's cool. You can just, oh, you can lock, that's cool. You can lock buttons individually. So you can just say, I want that button locked. It does not do anything. Or maybe, actually, you know what? I reckon what it is actually. Select, yeah. So there's a lock lever on the left side. Where are we? Right there. There's a lock lever. So this is something that the Pixis does not have, but it should, because it has a lock switch as well. You can select what is locked when you switch that lever over. That is really nice. So you can, yeah, you're like, okay, well, if I have the lock on, I still want to be able to do this and this, but I don't want to be able to do anything else. That's really handy. That's a good setting to have. Function button set. Okay, what function buttons do we have? So we have the 3 on top. So the white balance, ISO, and exposure compensation. White balance and ISO, I'll leave as white balance and ISO, although I'll see what other ISO settings there are. Hopefully I can just switch between the two bases. White balance, I'll leave the same. Exposure compensation, I will change because I'm not going to use that as it is. Record button, we'll keep as record. Live view monitor, so the little button on the side of the viewfinder. Right there, that little LVF button, that's one you can change, which is interesting. Honestly, I'll sort of see how it goes, because on the A7 IV, there was the, like, I turned the sensor for the viewfinder off because it would always just like switch to the viewfinder from the screen. So it would turn the screen off and switch to the viewfinder if I was reaching across. So it would detect my hand and think it was a face. And that I found really annoying. So I set the switch in photo mode to a button. So it would switch between the monitor and the viewfinder if I pressed that button. And I just never used the viewfinder in video mode. So I just had it off at all times and I just always used the monitor. But yeah, I think if that sensor isn't an issue, if me reaching across doesn't affect it at all, then maybe I'll find something to set that button to. But if it is an issue, then I'll set it to switch between the monitor and the viewfinder. That being said, in video mode, probably still not going to use it a lot, but we'll see. Photo mode, maybe. Maybe I'll try and start taking photos with the viewfinder. I don't know. AF on. Okay, that can probably be changed. Apparently there's a lot of things you can set it to. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can set it to. And this is not something I'll do live. I'll go and do that. Focus ring lock. That's interesting. Focus limiter. Cool. Yeah, I'm not going to do that now. So yeah, it looks like there's a lot of things you can set it to, which is nice. Yeah. Whoa, wait, where'd we go? Color bar, color bars. False color. I'm gonna set something to false color, and then I'll probably also do LUT on, which will be. Can I do both? LUT view assist. No. LUT view assist, monitor, HDMI. Hopefully I can just have it set to both. Or maybe, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully I can link them so I can just like switch the light on and off on both. Because I don't really feel like I need to have it separate. I'm not going to set that now though. That is what, focus area? That's focus area, right? Quick menu is the quick menu. I'm obviously not going to change that because quick menus are helpful. Function 1. Oh, so the back button right down the bottom. What is that set to? Is that looks like display, or maybe that's the level, like I thought that was just a display thing, but maybe not. Anyway, all right. Well, that's cool. I'll go through that at some point as well. Dial set, joystick button, cool. Video record button, remote, histogram, focal. Oh, it tells you the focal length. That's kind of cool. Anamorphic D-squeeze display. Yes, we want. I might even set that as a button, depending on how much. Depends how much I use anamorphic, because I might just put that in the quick menu, because I probably won't need it. I don't think I'll need it enough that it should be its own button, but I'll definitely put that in the quick menu. Center marker, probably put that in the quick menu as well. I like having a center marker on my monitor, although maybe not actually, because I just usually have it on my monitor anyway. Frame marker, zebra pattern, false color. That'll definitely be a button. Waveform vector scope, that might be a button as well, or at least in the quick menu. Red record frame indicator. Let's turn that on. Streaming blue frame indicator. Interesting. Probably not going to use that, but fair enough. HDMI record output. Info display. So if I turn this off, then you're only going to see the footage. Now I'll turn it back on. And then you're seeing the menu as well. Down convert. What, you're not going to tell me what that means? Okay, so that's just like the output resolution, basically. Sound output, HDMI. Oh, okay, maybe I should have turned that off. Yeah. I should have turned that off for the stream when I was doing the double audio before, but that's fine. Enlarge live display, yeah, sure. Okay, cool. Fan mode, auto 2. So auto 1, the fan speed will be selected automatically with emphasis to cool the camera body. Fan speed will be selected automatically depending on the camera's internal temperature. The fan will be disabled if not needed. That's probably the one that it should be on the most. Fan operates continuously at a fast speed. The fan operates continuously at a normal speed. And you've got slow speed, but I wonder if I can't do slow. I can't do off. I can't do slower off, probably because I'm in open gate. I'm assuming that's why that is. Tally lamp, front tally. Okay, so these are just, what am I setting the brightness? Where's the rear tally lamp? Rear card access line. Oh, okay, so that's there. Is the rear one on top? Oh, no, it's there. That's it, okay. So that we've got one on the back. We've got a tally light on the back. Oh, wait, why don't I just... Wait, I'm going to do this. Hold on. This will be a lot easier. So we've got a tally light on the back there. And the record display with the highlight around the outside. And then we've got a tally light on the front there. I only really found out about the tally light on the front the other day when I saw a photo or a video of this. But I'm really glad that it has it. I really like tally lights on cameras. And I'm kind of disappointed the Pixis doesn't have more. But yeah, so we got tally light on the back, tally light on the front, and the record display, so you know it's recording, because you don't want to be not recording. Yeah, anyway. Where is our menu? We'll go back to the menu, and I'll get rid of this camera. Lens, focus, resume, lens. Okay, lens function button setting, good, because this lens has function buttons. Focus ring setting during AF. Oh, that's kind of cool. So you can set, if you're in autofocus, you can set the focus ring to do something else. I don't know why you would set it to shutter speed, but you could. Crop zoom. You could, if you were shooting on a prime lens in autofocus and you wanted to digitally zoom for some reason, you could set the focus ring to crop zoom, and then it's just a zoom lens at that point. Obviously, it's not real zoom, it's not optical zoom, it's digital zoom, but still. Suppose white balance, color temperature, AF mode. AF mode, yeah, just scroll through your AF modes with the focus ring. That's interesting. Okay. Focus ring set during manual focus. All right, this is what we like this. Okay, as I was saying earlier, if anyone was here for that, the focus ring on this 28 to 105 from Sigma is all blurry because it's a manual focus lens. It's not linear, and it's just really hard to be consistent with your manual focus throws. But if I change that to linear, then theoretically it should just be good. Like, it should now act more like a cinema lens, obviously without the hard stops, but at least it's linear, so that you can at least be consistent. So it is a bit annoying. I thought that I would be able to change the degrees of rotation, so I could set this to like 180 or 270 or something like that, so I could set it to an exact number of degrees. Maybe that's somewhere else, but yeah, that's a little disappointing that it's that it's not there. Maybe it's somewhere else. AF micro adjustment, adjust by no, okay. Lens info confirmation, vertical position info. What is that? And add orientation information when camera is held vertically at video recording. Yep, cool. Okay, well, that's all those settings. Let's go down here. Card format. Double card slot function. Okay, let's see what we got in here. Recording method. Relay record when the select destination is full. Automatically switch to the other card. Yep. Backup record. Record same photo and video to both cards at once. You can set the photo video to be recorded for each card, so then you can allocate different ways. Cool. And then you can set it 1 to 2 and 2 to 1. That's cool. Yep. USB SSD off. I'm probably not going to record to SSDs really at all, but, you know, maybe. We'll see. File number, copyright information, cool. Yeah, maybe we'll change the file settings, because, oh, you can even change the folders too. Nice. Yeah, I'll probably change this to, yeah, I'll probably change that to like S12 something. So what I did with my FX30, and yeah, it's just good that it's like, because I didn't do that with my A7 IV, so all my A7 IV files were C numbers, but then with my FX30, it was FX30 numbers, and then it was just really easy to tell which camera was which. So, you know, maybe we'll just set this to S12 or something like that. Power save mode. What do we got? Sleep mode. Yeah, I saw it did go to sleep earlier when I had it on. Thermal management. Recording max temperature. I mean, I'm assuming that you just treat this like the same as you would a Sony. You set it to high. While using this mode, the camera may get very hot. To prevent personal injury, suggest not holding the camera ready to use this tripod. Yeah, sure. Cool. So, no, it's not going to just turn off monitor frame rate. 30 or 60. Yeah, so the LVF can go to 120 FPS. Monitor settings. Brightness. Oh, that does not look good. I want to change the backlight on the brightness. Contrast, saturation, red tint, blue tint. Cool. Okay, interesting. Backlight. There we go. Auto is interesting. Well, I'll leave it on auto for now. Oh, that is very bright for like looking at it now at nighttime. But we'll leave it on auto for now. Eye sensor. Sensitivity high. So I can maybe change the sensitivity. And then you've got it, and I've got an auto there. So yeah. Level gauge assist. Okay, well, I'm not going to do that. Beep. No. Get out of here. We don't want beeps. AF people. No, get all of this. Go away. No beeps. Oh, wait. We'll leave the E shutter, though. We can have an electronic shutter sound. But I'm not having beeps. I don't want my camera beeping all the time. Cool. Bluetooth, frame IO, USB, HDMI connection, let view assist. Cool. Yeah, well, I'm not going to do that now, but I'll all this stuff that I'll set up later. I just want to see what's sort of there while I'm live. By the way, if anyone has any questions you want me to either check in the menus or check any settings or test anything, I can. Custom mode settings. Cool. So honestly, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set all my settings in manual mode, save that as custom mode 1, and basically never use anything else. To be fair, I'll probably use like one, like for video at least, I'll probably have one, which will be like OpenGate, and I'll have two, which will be, I don't know, maybe 5.1K 3x2. Why would I do that though? I don't know. Well, that's if I want to shoot 50 FPS. I'll probably have like either just like a 16:9 4K or something mode, but all the settings will be basically the same. It's more just like the aspect ratios and resolutions. Cool, that should be good. Yeah, well, you can set it to cinema. You can set it to a true 24 hertz. That's cool. Yeah, it was actually I was on a shoot recently. I was gaffing actually, and we were shooting. The DP was shooting on a Red Komodo X, and he had it set to 24 frames per second. And I asked him why 24 as opposed to 25, because I shoot everything at 25. And he said that like because of depending on where the film is going to go, like if it's just being posted to the internet, it's not really a massive deal. But if it is going to go to like streaming or something like that, or like in the cinema, then it needs to be 24, because like it's going to get converted to 24 anyway, so you may as well just shoot it in 24. And yeah, which like I totally get. I still haven't shot anything in, well, I always shoot in 25 anyway, but you know, whatever. Yeah, we did all that, didn't we? Cool. And then you've got your personal menu, your like custom menus. Cool. My menu. There you go. Nice. Well, we just went through the whole menu. Look at that. Yeah. What I might do actually is getting a bit warm, and it's we're down to like less than half battery just from sitting here going through the menus. But what I could do, what if I switch to, oh wait, okay. Now where's the quick menu not work? Do I have to hold the quick menu? Okay. Now I have to go and find the setting. Where was it? It was the HDMI stuff. It wasn't here, was it? No. It's not it would not be monitor settings. No. Okay. Does anyone remember where the HDMI settings were? It wasn't in here. No. Wait, did I just keep going? No. What? Okay, HDMI. I completely forgot where it was. Was it in this one? No, I was in here just before. Wait. USB, HDMI. Okay. No, that's not even. That's just the LUT. Okay, if I turn this on, is that gonna? Oh, it is. Is that even the right LUT? That does not look like the right color. Anyway. Sure, let's leave it on. Why not? But where was the? I completely forget where the HDMI settings were. Because I want to turn off... That wasn't it. I want to turn off the... And that's just audio. And it's not in here because I just went through all this. Right? Record quality. No, we're back into 1 again. This is all photo stuff. Why can I not find... this would be when it... Yeah. This is... Oh, there we go. HDMI record output. Info display off. And then... What I'll do... I shrink that. I'm going to change to... Hello? What? Oh, no, wrong one. That one can go. What? Okay, and then I want to get this one back. Oh, that's annoying. This one I'll put back as well. Because the... Wait. The cam link, it was on the top. Yeah, let's put it on top. Alright. I'm going to switch out of open gate so we can actually just see like the full... Where is 16 by 9? 5.9K 16 by 9. There we go. All right, so now we're in 16 by 9. We have the LUT. Apparently that looks very dark though. Why are we in auto ISO? That is very dark. Why are we at 11 degrees shutter? We're at 11 degrees. Okay, there we go. That's better. And then we can just like lower the aperture a little bit. We're at f5 now. Now, if I put this here, now I wonder what the... Because people were talking before about the HDMI latency. Apparently that's a bit of an issue with... F5 is not it. Let's go F4. Yeah, apparently the HDMI latency is a bit of an issue, and it's something that they're like working on, but it's not like fixed. So yeah, let's do this. Let's go side by side. Well, why don't I just do this? No, this one. There we go. If I make that full size, move it across, and then put this down for a sec because I need to crop. Crop to about the middle. Where's 1920? Close enough. Alright, so this is the... Oh, let's even set it to about the same focal length. So 40 should be like there. So we're on the 40mm and you see Athena on the Pixis. And then this is about 40mm on the 28-105. Are we at... And we're actually at... Oh, we're at F2 or at T28 on the Pixis. And we're at F4 on the Sigma or on the Lumix. There, that's F28 on this one and T28 on this one. Now the Blackmagic does look better, but also like I haven't done anything. I think this has the LUT on it. Let's flip this screen out so I can actually see it. Wonder if there's any like... No. Oh, we're making it a bit lower. So no. All right, I'll just put it back up the way it normally goes. So yeah, a little autofocus test. Seems to be... Oh, it's a little behind. I'll obviously need to like play with the settings a little bit, but doesn't seem too bad. It's a little bit behind when it comes to just like that movement, but that doesn't seem like it'll be too much of a problem. Yeah, the color's a bit weird, but that could very well just be the LUT that's on there. Yeah, I really, and actually to be fair, on the Pixis, we're not even shooting in like Blackmagic film with a LUT on, because for some reason when you go USB out to use as a webcam, it just doesn't put the LUT on no matter what you do. So I actually just changed the color space to extended video, which is what the LUT does when you put the LUT, like the LUT that I use on the Pixis is just Blackmagic film to extended video, and this is just shooting extended video natively. So, but yeah, so this is Vlog to Rec 709, I think. Does it tell me there's a LUT on? Is that, I don't know. Oh, hello. Oh, okay, that took a second to come back when it lost focus. This is getting quite heavy because this lens is kind of big. I wonder if I just like put that up there. Is that gonna work? Is that too? Oh, that actually kind of works. Now, this is the wrong side of my face because it's just like really lit, so it's gonna look really flat. I'm not gonna shoot at 105. We're apparently at +2 or +1 2/3, and that's interesting. That it just looks so bad being front lit like that. I'm gonna get rid of that. I don't like that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, one thing I do want to check, I want to see, and what I'll test. I'm gonna probably make so many videos about this camera. Is if the 5.9K versus the 6K versus the 5.1K, like what if they all crop at all? Same with like the even yeah, all those ones. And then what else did I want to check? What I had something that I was gonna say. What was I doing before that then cropped it? It was the dynamic range boost mode. Wait, can I turn that on now? See if I can navigate the menus backwards. No, go back. Where was dynamic range boost? There. Wrong way. So if I turn that on, ready? We're gonna see if this crops at all. Oh, it doesn't crop. Nice. So we can shoot in 5.9K 16:9 with it, right? Yeah, we're at 5.9K 420 10-bit long got. We got an oh, it says HDMI LUT there. Nice. Okay. So this is dynamic range boost on, and we're at 1000. We're at ISO 1000 because the dynamic range boost basically takes the two base ISOs and like puts them together to get more dynamic range. Because yeah, they're at 640 and 5000, and it just like it doesn't meet in the middle, but it meets at 1000, and it like yeah, you get an extra about a stop apparently. So dynamic range boost on. There you go, rolling shutter test with dynamic range boost on. Yeah, it's gonna be real jello-y, but honestly, I mean, shooting on the Pixis in OpenGate is super jello as well, and it's only got 13 stops of dynamic range. They advertise this to have 14 with no boost on and 15 with boost on, I think. Or is it 15 and 16? I think it's 14 and 15. I'm gonna just stop this down a bit so it's not too bright. Yeah, something as well, like yeah, the color, just the color, I don't know, it could be the lens, it could be the LUT, it could be the sensor, but yeah, this Blackmagic just like, even without shooting in, like this is just shooting straight into extended video, no Blackmagic film log or anything like that. The color just looks nice. Whereas yeah, on the Lumix, not as much, but that could one be the lens. You know, it's a much nicer lens on the Pixis right there. And then yeah, of course the LUT. Like I don't really know what this LUT is doing on the S1II right here. So yeah, that's one. Okay, I'm gonna unplug this right now and get rid of it, and then we'll turn this back, and let's switch back to this one. Why are you there? What is that one? Okay, Why is that so zoomed in? Anyway, let's I'm gonna put this cage on. This is something I was gonna do like at the start of this stream, or like ages ago. Switch off. Interesting location for the switch. Like the on-off switch is at the back of the. Is that gonna focus? Yeah. Like the switch is there, and you can see the on-off button just below, right there. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of in a decent spot, but it's not. I don't know. It's just different. I just actually I was gonna say like it feels weird and is like different to all other cameras I use, but I'm pretty sure the Lumix G85 that I used to have did basically the same thing. So yeah. Anyway, let's put this cage on. Or do I have? Oh no, it's fine. Yeah. Good thing these smaller cages come with a tool, so I don't have to go and get a tool. Okay. One of the things that I really like about this cage, and I obviously haven't tried it yet, but I haven't put it on, but I really like the fact that it has a built-in NATO rail. I don't have to add a NATO rail, which that's just so good, because I didn't like that about my A7 IV cage. Oh, I have to loosen that, don't I? I think I have to loosen like the lock things on the side. Or take them off entirely? Do I have to do that? Or do they just slide? Or maybe I need to take them off entirely. I think I do. But yeah, with the A7 IV, I had to put a NATO rail on top of the cage because the cage doesn't have a NATO rail on top. It just has like a spot for the three or like a 1 3/8 inch hole and then a few 1/4-20s. Whereas, you know, this cage, really nice, has a built-in NATO rail, and that's just really good. One of the good things about like most FX30 cages is like the top plate that goes in place of the top handle is always a NATO rail, so that's just really handy. All right, now these cages, these small rig ones, I don't think this is not exclusive to small rig. I'm pretty sure it's just the way that all the cameras are, all the cage brands are making cages for these cameras in particular, is they're using the like strap holes, mounts, you know what I mean. They're using the spots where you put the strap in to mount it, to secure it. So you take this little thing out and that goes into that little strap bit. And this one goes, oh, I see. That's cool. You can't really see this, but it makes sense. And it's definitely better than, or I wouldn't say definitely, it's probably better than the one on the A7 IV. Definitely not as good as the like FX3, FX30, because obviously, do I have to take this out of here? Or do I just need to maybe loosen everything else a little bit? I'll just loosen this one so it's not so tight. But yeah, like the FX3 and the FX30 obviously just have, and the FX2 now, they just have their 1/4-20 screws on the side of the body, so you can just screw a cage straight into that, which is super handy. But most other cameras don't have that, so you need to, so the companies like SmallRig, Condor Blue, and Tilter and stuff need to find other ways to securely mount the cages to those cameras. And one thing that I didn't like about the A7 IV and my Lumix G85 actually back in the day was that, why can I not get this on? Do I need to? Maybe I should read the instructions. There aren't, and it's just pictures, so there's no reading instructions. It's just, because this isn't screwing back in, and I don't know why. That's where it needs to go. That's where that needs to go. Because this needs to go in between that and that. And I'm not sure why that's not going in. Was I maybe not meant to take it all the way out? Maybe. Because I can get that most of the way, but then it won't rotate in. Okay, I still stand by this cage being really good. It's just really annoying to attach. I'm gonna tighten these other ones and see if that helps. I'm kind of not expecting it to. Yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah, so then it's just this end. We need to... Why is that not going in? And I can't really even ask because nobody has these cameras. Okay. Go. No? Okay. Well, we're going to try. I'm going to take this one. Should I take this one entirely off? No, I'm just going to loosen it a lot. I'm not doing it wrong, am I? How would I be doing it wrong? That needs to go there. I wonder if I can take this screw out of this little thing. Oh, I can. Alright. Hopefully this works. I'm going to take it mostly out so I can hook that on properly. There we go. Got it. Now I should be able to screw that in to there. Perfect. Cool. Alright. We did it. We got the cage on. You couldn't see the monitor before. I wonder if the stand that the camera's on is slightly lowered or it's just angled down more than it was earlier. I don't know. But now I also gotta figure out where I left my hand strap, because I'm gonna put a hand strap on this because I'm kind of surprised, honestly, that hand straps are not more common. With mirrorless cameras like this, I do not like just carrying a camera like this. I always have a strap around the outside of my hand there. And I have, I think ever since I got my first cage for my A7 IV, I think I've just always had a hand strap, and it's just like, it's so good. Even for taking photos. Like when I first got it, I think when I first got my A7 IV, I went on a little photo walk, just like walked around taking photos, and I noticed that I was like gripping on the camera so much because I didn't want to drop it and all that sort of stuff. And when I got the hand strap, I could just like walk around. I didn't have to hold on to it because it was just strapped to my hand. And then if you want to just tighten it so you don't even have to hold on at all, then you can. But I'm going to just check if I left it on my desk just here. I don't know why I still have headphones on. I don't need headphones on for this. Okay, I think I know where it is, so I'm gonna go and get it out of my other room. Okay, so people always ask me what this strap is. It's just like the regular. Actually, I don't know if it is the regular small rig hand strap. It's like the Black Mamba one. I bought this one originally, like when I got my A7 IV cage, the Black Mamba strap. And then when I got my FX30 cage, it came with one of these. Yeah, so then people always ask, like, where'd you get, what's that strap? Where'd you get it from? It's like, well, one, it just came with the cage for the FX30. And then, yeah, for the A7 IV one, I just bought that. Like, it was like one of the first things that I bought for my SM4. I got the SM4 and the 20mm lens, and I got a 80GB CF Express Type A card. That was like as a bonus, like included from Ted's when I bought it. And yeah, and then like probably the next thing that I got was the cage, a couple handles, and this hand strap. So yeah, I've just been using hand straps on my mirrorless cameras ever since. Now I haven't obviously been using it on the Pixis because you can't really put a hand strap on these like rosette, these like straight rosette handles. But yeah, on any cameras like this, we always go with the hand strap. Now, one thing that I'm noticing with this cage, especially comparing it to one of the annoying things, I've sold my SM4, but I still have the cage for it because somebody bought my Falcam cage, but nobody's bought the small rig one yet. But this, the height, the thickness of this, right, at the back, that isn't too big and it's nice and round. Whereas on this one, it just seems a little bit thicker and further away from the body, and also just a bit like more perpendicular to the side of the camera. So it's like I can feel that lump. I can just feel the cage way more than I can with the A7 IV cage, and even with my FX30 cage, like the Hawklock one that I've got. But I mean, this will be fine. It's just like, yeah, it's just a little bit too right angled for my liking. Like, I don't know why they didn't just, I understand why, but why couldn't they have just moved the, actually, let's switch back to this camera, and then we can focus. We're at minimum there. So it's this right here, because of the door, right? When the door opens, it's gonna get like right up against that cage. And probably for the sake of having those screws in the center or something, they didn't want to move them further forward, or they didn't want to like make it too long, extending further forward. Something like that, I don't know. But yeah, it's just a very, it's not quite a right angle, but it's kind of close. So not a huge fan of that. Also this, just immediately, like this bit right here, I'm gonna switch back to the other camera. This bit right here is a bit of an angle as well, which sort of digs into the top of my hand, depending on how I'm holding it. Definitely not as bad as the Falcam F22 cage for the A7 IV that Falcam sent to me, and then like I made a video about it, and then I never used it again because I didn't like it, which I talked about in the video. But like, yeah, there was just like a bit down the bottom of the handle here that just like, there was an edge that just dug into my hand. So I was like, yeah, it was just annoying. And I assume you could have put a strap on the edge on the hand of it, but I didn't do that because I just didn't use the cage because it wasn't that helpful. And I wanted to be able to use like NATO stuff and Arca Swiss stuff. And one of the big issues that I brought up in that video was that you can't use a lot of NATO and Arca Swiss stuff with that system. But yeah, so we got the rig here, and what we can do as well is this is like the whole handle and monitor sort of situation that I just took off the Pixis. It's got an SDI cable. Obviously I can't use that with this, but we can put the handle on because this is just a NATO rail, hopefully. Yep, we can slide it on. We'll get it to the middle. Now this is, I think this is technically a Hawklock cage. I don't think they advertise it as a Hawklock cage, but it does have Hawklock. Like, it has a Hawklock NATO rail on the top. It has a Hawklock NATO rail on the side, and the cold shoes, I think, are Hawklock as well. Like, yeah. So that's handy, but I just don't have any. The weird thing is I have a Hawklock cage for my FX30, and this is a Hawklock cage. I have no other Hawklock stuff. I think technically the shoulder rig that I have, the SR007, that I think technically is Hawklock, but yeah, for the most part. Like, I just don't have any other hall clock stuff. So that's just sort of not a deal. But yeah, we got to, this just looks so ridiculous just having this. Like, I wouldn't run this setup like this. I would put it on a base plate with another handle at least. I'd put like my left rosette handle on the side here, and then a big V-mount battery right here. And probably what I'll do, honestly, with this camera, what I did with the FX30, right, is it, can I actually, whoa, let's see if I can, oh, no, I don't know if I can do that. Wait, can I control this? Tracking. If I turn tracking off. Viewing gimbal. Ha. So if I angle it, whoa, that's too far. I'm gonna zoom in. Is 4 times too much? 4 times is probably too much. Let's go like 3. And then we'll angle it down. What was I showing you again? I forget. Oh yeah. So what I would do with my FX30 is I would make sure that my V-mount plate only came to here, so I could still flip the screen all the way out if I needed to see it out here, like that, or if I wanted it just in on the body like that. So I would always have that much clearance. Whereas now, I feel like that doesn't really need to be the case. I don't need to be able to flip it all the way out, but I just need enough room to flip it up. Maybe to there, probably not even to there. I might even just have it to like there, just so I can see it from above. And, oh, that's actually nice too, being able to flip it down. Because that's something that is definitely a lot harder to do with just the flipping. Because you can go that way, but then it like doesn't flip properly and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I'm going to turn tracking back on here so it go away. There we go. Normal tracking. Just going to zoom in. No, that's not going to zoom in. If I zoom in, if I go here. I'll zoom in a bit. That's meant to be a close-up. That's not a close-up. Anyway. Cool. So yeah, that's sort of what I plan. I'm not going to do that now because I still have the Pixis in this whole thing. Although, I'm not using the Pixis currently. So I could just get rid of this camera angle for the end of the stream and build this whole rig. Yeah, why not? Let's do that. Okay, well, we are going to turn off that one. And I'll unplug the Pixis. Got a whole shot bag here just to create that angle, even though it wasn't doing anything because the battery is heavy enough to do that. All right, I'm gonna unplug that. Hopefully we're still good. Yep, looks like we're still good. All right. So this is what I was using to stream on that. I'm gonna switch all this off. But basically, this rig, plus the handle and monitor that I've already got on here, is like my standard rig for all my cameras, for my like primary camera, for my A cam. So I'm probably gonna rig the Pixis back up, you know, as it was as soon as I do this. But the good thing about this whole system that I've got is it's actually really easy to change the camera without changing the rig itself too much. So I can literally just take the camera out of the plate here, out of the base plate, and then we've got the Pixis that can go over there, and then I can literally just put the S12 on here. And what I would do if I am like doing this properly is I'd put a Manfrotto plate on the bottom of this and then put this onto the base plate, but for demonstration purposes, I'm not going to do that, and it's good because I have this dual base plate from Tilta. That means I can just slide an Arca Swiss cage straight into this base plate. So then I don't need to worry about putting an actual quick release plate on the bottom of the cage. So then we've got that. We're going to pretend this SDI cable is an HDMI cable, and that can go there. That can still plug in maybe there. Let's go with that for now. And then, so here's this is basically my full rig. Like, it was that easy to just change it over. Usually I don't run this handle, the handle on the right, because I just use the built-in handle on the camera itself. So I'll take that handle off once I give the pixels back and I don't have it anymore. I'll take that one off and then just use the left handle on the front. And I like having them staggered a bit. That's why I originally took off the right handle, because I used to, when I first got these handles, I'd have them both, because they're on like a dual rosette adapter there on the rods, and I would have them both there, but then it's just sort of, it was a bit annoying because then I couldn't do stuff on the camera with my right hand because I was holding on this other handle. So I just started using the built-in grip, so then I can like press the buttons and hit record and do all that sort of stuff. And I also found that to be more helpful when it comes to just having more control, because if you have your hands like in the same line, like parallel in front, then you have less control. Whereas if you stagger your hands, so if you bring your right hand back, in this case, to the plane of the camera, and then you have your left hand in front of it, you just have a bit more control, like grabbing things on corners versus grabbing things on opposite sides. You just can have slightly more control. So I like doing that. I would also like to put like a right handle, like maybe like a similar one of these back here. That would probably be better. But on this camera, or just on mirrorless cameras in general, it's more just of a one handle thing. Whereas with a box camera like the Pixis, what I would like to do is, if I got like the Condor Blue cage or something, I would put just, you know, a rosette handle on the cage there on the left, and then a rosette handle on the back on the right. Either that, or I'd get like the rosette plate, or just another plate with like a nader rail on it, and put another handle on the side there, so it's a little bit behind the front handle, because I do like having that. I've seen other people use basically like shoulder rig arms for like rosette handles, and they'll have one without the arm mounted at the front, and then one with the arm mounted at the back, and that can work as well, and that looks like a pretty good idea. But yeah, this is basically like my full rig. This is honestly, this is almost exactly how I'm gonna shoot this film that I'm shooting. What is it, in a week and a half now? Actually, no, we're shooting next week. Next Friday's the first day, and then we're shooting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday the following week. So yeah, in just over a week, I'll be shooting a little bit of a film on this, and I'll be shooting the rest of it a few days later. But yeah, it's getting a bit late here. I've been live for 2.5 hours. If anyone has any questions before I go, let me know now. Otherwise, I will call it very, very soon. Just with this cage, one other thing that I've sort of, I knew this before I ordered it, is I'm not a big fan of these nader rails, because not the nader rails. The nader rails are great. The just ended the live. Oh well, there's 2.5 hours previously if you want to go back and watch that afterwards. But yeah, I mean, unless you have any questions now and you want to talk about something now. But yeah, these cold shoes on this cage, they don't have a front to them. So they're both, there's two of them. There's one on the right side there, and then one on the left side there. They don't have a front, so you can just you slide your mic in, and then you have to make sure it's really locked down, because it could slide forwards or backwards. Whereas with other ones, the one on the right, I've had on this cage, the one on the right, you can go straight through. Where are we? We're there. That one you can go straight through, but that one has a back to it, so you can't just go straight through it. It stops things at the front, and that I feel like that's kind of important, because some mics don't have the best locking mechanism when you're locking them to a cold shoe. So yeah, that's just a little thing with the cage that I'm a little bit disappointed. It's why didn't they just close that one at the front? Probably to make it compatible with other Hawklock stuff, but still. NK Media, have you tried the new Mantis yet? If not, what do you think about the Blazer Remus 33mm, and do you still use them? I've not tried the Mantis, no. It does seem like a great set. if you or if you can only shoot in like 16:9 sensors. So, you know, shooting on Sony, for example, without open gate, yeah, Mantis seemed like great option, and I do like the fact that they have that iris, the oval iris, which can make that like 2x look for a 1.3 times anamorphic. There was, what was it? Coral something reef. There's a brand, like a German brand, that has like anamorphic lenses that also have an oval iris, I'm pretty sure. But as for the 33mm, well, yeah, as for the 33mm, I feel like the Remus is still better for cameras like this, the S12 and the Pixis right here, because they can shoot in 3x2 open gate, and 3x2 at 1.5 times is way better crop ratio. Or even if you shoot in 4x3 and then you do a 1.5 times, that's a 2x1, which is like perfect for YouTube. I've started exporting most of my YouTube videos in 2x1. A lot of the time I've been like 16:9, and then it's like, I did one in 2.66:1, and then I did a few in 2.4:1 or 2.35:1. But I think I'm probably going to settle around that 2:1, because it seems like a lot of people do as well, because like it's not too wide like a 2.4:1 can be on a computer screen or on a phone, but it's also a bit narrower than like a bit not as tall than 16:9, so it's like it's just a little bit got the black bars just a little bit. I have every camera manufacturer but the Pixis 12K now. I'm waiting for it to be delivered next month. Still shoot most of Sony. Fair enough. Yeah, Pixis 12K. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping to get one soon. I was told it was gonna be like maybe it's a country thing, or maybe they're like, I don't know, maybe they were hoping it was gonna be July, but then it turns out it's actually gonna be September, which is what happened last year with the Pixis 6K. Like everyone thought they were gonna get them in July, but then no one got them until September. I was told September from Blackmagic themselves, or from their like the people that do the marketing or their PR in Australia at least. Yeah, I was told more like September. I'm hoping it's before that. Like it'd be cool if we get a 12K in July. But yeah, the 12K is one that I'm thinking that's probably gonna be my next camera, unless I get like an S9 as like an extra little one. But then that'll be my sort of A cam for especially a lot of my like narrative stuff that I do. And then for any like videography stuff that requires like autofocus, that's what we got the S12 for. Photos, and then yeah, any like little stuff, maybe an S9. I don't know. Are you down shooting on Sony? Are you done shooting on Sony's? Also, what would you recommend between Blackmagic, Sony, or Lumix for documentary, run and gun, travel, and news? So I basically have switched from Sony to L mount. So this Pixis 6K is not mine. It's on loan from Blackmagic, so I do actually have to send it back very soon, like next week. So I don't have this for very much longer, but I do really want to get a 12K. And because of that, I was like, well, if I get a Pixis, I'm not going to want to then also have Sony's. So then that's why when the S12 came out, I was like, okay, well, this is a really good camera. It's got a lot of good features that I like, a lot of good features that Sony's don't have. Yeah, so that's what I decided to do. So I've already sold my A7 IV, my 7200 G Master Mark II, and then my FX30. I actually don't have it right now because someone's actually rented it out, but I will be probably selling my FX30. I haven't fully decided whether I'm just gonna like sell it straight away, or if I'm gonna like just hold on to it for a little bit and just have that. But I'm thinking I might sell it and then buy an S9 as like a secondary, tertiary camera. Especially while I don't have a Pixis, because I'll have to send this back, and there'll be a time where really this is the only camera that I have, the S12. So yeah, I'm thinking of selling the FX30, buying an S9, and then having basically just Lumix cameras for a bit, and then I'll get the 12K when I can. But recommendation for running gun, travel, and news stuff. I think that very much depends, because like if you need autofocus, Blackmagic is currently not really on the table yet. they will be soon, whenever the Pixis or whenever, you know, because currently the Cinema 6K has autofocus. But if you need autofocus, honestly, Sony's probably still the best for that. But Lumix is not too far behind. They are a bit behind, but they're not too far behind. If it's like, it depends how run and gun you sort of mean. Like, is it like you want a vlog camera, or you want like an FX6 style camera for like documentaries? But yeah, for like documentary stuff, yeah, it very much depends how run and gun you mean. Because like, do you need audio? Because if you need XLR audio, then, you know, maybe like a Pixis would be good. But then it's like, then you're stuck with manual focus, which may be fine. Maybe you can deal with that. When it comes to like video features, Blackmagic is going to be the way, and then Lumix, then Sony, I think. Do you have any super slow motion cameras? No, I've never used any like super slow motion stuff. The most frames a second I've ever shot is 200, and that was I think that was on the FX30 actually. That was like, I literally used it once as a test, and that was it. Like, I never used it again because it was only 1080p. But I have used 100 frames per second in the A7 IV a little bit, and maybe I'll use it a little bit in the S12, but I don't know. I so rarely shoot slow-mo, and if I do, it would just be 50p for the most part anyway. FX30 is amazing when I need less depth of field. I use it all the time. Yeah, totally, fair enough. Yeah, I've been using the FX30. It's been like my main camera, like my A cam for everything but YouTube, basically, because a lot of the time I'm making a YouTube video and I want to have my main rig in the video because I'm like talking about it. So that's when I shoot on the A7 IV, and a lot of the time too with the A7 IV, because it's full frame. Like if I'm shooting on my Blazer Remus 33mm, I want to be a bit wider. There's a lot of times where I just shoot on the A7 IV for my own like YouTube stuff. But then for most of my like videography, like client work, I would use the FX30 because it's much better for that. Like, it's a much better video camera than the A7 IV is. Like Anthony Bourdain travel. Would depend. Well, does that mean like you're doing it yourself, or are you like recording other people do that sort of stuff? Because I feel like if you're recording other people, you could probably like benefit from having a bigger camera, like an FX6 style thing or a Pixis style thing. Lumix doesn't really have an equivalent to the FX6 right now. Yeah, and to be fair, the FX is kind of old anyway. You could probably get away with, you know, a mirrorless camera like this, but I feel like that you'd probably want more like an FX6 and FX9 style camera, which, you know, if the Pixis had autofocus, could be the Pixis. But other than that, yeah, that's a tough one. I think it kind of comes down to autofocus for the most part. Yeah, because if you don't need autofocus, I'd probably say Pixis or Pixis 12K when it comes out. But it also depends a lot on your budget too. Like if you only have, you know, $3,000, maybe like an FX30. But if you have 10, then I don't know, maybe like a fully rigged out Pixis 12K or FX6. Or like a Canon C80, or if you have more money. Yeah, it depends on what you're doing in particular, what features you need, and what your budget is. If you ever consider on using a super slow motion camera, still shoot with the Red Epic Mysterium X 300 FPS. With DaVinci rescaling, it can go all the way up to 2000 with 0 artifacts raw. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think with the DaVinci rescaling, well, I guess the retiming, like with like optical flow, I think I used that one time. I was shooting in 25p, and there was a clip that I wanted to slow down, and so I slowed it down by 50%, and I used like the DaVinci like retiming with optical flow sort of thing, and it actually looked pretty good. Like it looked like I just shot it in 50p. So that's kind of cool. It's good to know that you can do that. To be fair, it was a very short clip. It was like a second or two that I just then, you know, doubled the length of. Because that was more of just sort of a videography, like well, it was like a talking head, but also very much action demonstration sort of stuff. So I was shooting the whole thing in 25 and just shooting everything 25p. But then there was this one bit and we didn't get that as B-roll. We probably could have just been like, hey, let's just shoot this real quick. We can do it in slow motion if we need. But then, yeah, slowing down in post actually worked a lot better than I expected it to. The new update is AI, which is great. Yeah, the DaVinci Resolve 20. DaVinci Resolve 20 is really good. There's a lot of really good features. My computer has been struggling with it though. Like a lot of like the new, like I used to use Magic Mask a lot to make thumbnails for YouTube. And yeah, I basically can't do that much anymore because my computer struggles with it so much because of the new AI stuff that it just like doesn't, it just takes ages or it doesn't work. Or not that it doesn't work, it just like then just cuts the feed and then I can't see anything and I have to restart the program to make it work again. So yeah, I've had some issues recently since like even with the beta and with the full version of DaVinci Resolve 20. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, really good features. Some of the features, yeah, I think I need a computer upgrade to really use properly. I'm a wedding videographer and shoot lots of passion projects, sports, etc. So I'm stuck with purchases. Fair enough. Yeah, that honestly, like those. Well, no, sports I have done a little bit of, but weddings is something that I have not done like at all. And people always ask if I either do weddings or like have considered doing weddings. I'm just gonna bring this camera down so it's not so way up there. But yeah, I do not have experience shooting weddings. Honestly, a lot of the time, hello? Thank you. Does anyone else do that? Does anyone else like talk to their camera? But like not talking to the camera, like talking to you, like talking to the camera, like say hello, focus, and then thank it when it does. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of narrative stuff lately, which I've really been enjoying. Just got an FX30, but I'm nervous I'm gonna have issues with low light in non-controlled lighting scenarios. Really love the Pixar's design, but I was concerned it was too big for travel around with. That's fair. It is not. It's not as small as a FX30. You can rig it up pretty minimally though. Like you could, put a bigger battery in here, or even like this is a 35. Yeah, BPU 35. Honestly, I don't know how long this lasts because I never use just this. I always just have this as redundant power. But you could put a BPU battery in there, put like a NATA rail across there for a handle, and maybe put get a side handle on this plate somehow, either with a rosette, the like separate rosette plate, or do something like that. And you can have a pretty minimal setup with that, but yeah, it's definitely never going to be as small as an FX30 by itself. But if you're going to rig it up, this minimally rigged up would be similar size to an FX30, slightly less minimally rigged up, or maybe even smaller. Like the way that I would rig up a mirrorless camera, like this, I could make this Pixis smaller, basically. Because basically, like how it is now, I would just need to put. You'd need a rod to put a follow focus on, but yeah. What's your favorite lens for the FX30, both zoom and prime? So, there's the thing. I love the 7200 G Master Mark II. I recently just sold it because I'm selling all my Sony stuff. But for the FX30, it was a bit too tight for a lot of things. Like I didn't use it that much in the FX30 just because it's APS-C, and then 7200 is just too tight for a lot of things. I had one like client project that I shot on the FX30 and the 7200 almost entirely. I did a couple shots on the the Sigma 24-70 on the A7 IV, but that was more just sort of some like wider like POV shots. But that worked because we were like outside I just had the space that I could back up and I could, utilize that focal length, that focal range. But I wouldn't say that would be a great lens for the FX30. So the lens that I use the most on the FX30 is the Sigma 24-70. The original one. I didn't have the Mark II. I think I got it before the Mark II came out. The 20mm 1.8 is a good Sony lens. I think I actually have somebody else's here right now. I used to have mine and I sold it, and then I borrowed somebody else's for a bit. But that's a good lens if you want like a 30mm equivalent for the FX30. But yeah, there's plenty. 24mm 1.33 Sure. Fair enough. I don't know how I feel about the Sure anamorphics. They don't have the same feeling as like a Blazer. Blazer anamorphics just like they just have that sauce to them, Any zoom recommendations? I mean, you're asking. Oh wait. Honestly, I shot a whole music festival manually focusing on the FX30, FX3, and enjoyed it more than autofocusing. That's fair. Were you using zoom lenses? Sorry, not zoom lenses. Manual focus or autofocus lenses? 16-105 GF4. That's fair. Okay. For the FX30, manual focus lens. Okay, fair enough. That's fair. Like manual focus lenses, I think a lot of the time are like they'll look better or they have more character or something, and the manual focusing experience on a manual focus lens is going to be better than the manual focusing experience on an autofocus lens. But 16-105 G, so that's an APS-C lens. I never had any APS-C lenses. I still have the FX30 technically. But I always just use full frame lenses because my first, when I got my first Sony camera, it was the A7 IV. And I got, the 20mm 1.8. Then I got the 85mm 1.8. Then I got the 7200. Then I got the 24-70. And they're all full frame lenses because I wanted to be able to use them on both cameras and I didn't want to have to worry about the whole APS-C thing. So yeah, I've never really used APS-C lenses on the FX30. I've always just used full frame ones. So there's probably a lot of good APS-C lenses. It didn't start recording, did it? No. Okay, cool. Oh no, it shouldn't be able to. Yeah, I've never really used any APS-C lenses on the FX30 because I just always had full frame lenses because I also had a full frame camera. And then now, on the Lumix, the S1II, and then if I get a Pixis 12K or even Lumix S9, they're all full frame, so I have no reason to get APS-C lenses or Super 35 lenses. You get the best part of the lens as well if you use full frame ones on APS-C. Exactly. I made a video about this years ago when I first got my FX30. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. When I first got my FX30, I made a video about this, and it got a surprising amount of hate on Instagram. It was my first video that it didn't go viral, but it was by far my best performing video at the time. It just got a lot of people commenting that it was wrong. I recently got a comment on, I think it was that same video, the short, that was also posted on YouTube Shorts. People just don't like that take, that using a full frame lens on an APS-C camera or a Super 35 camera is a good thing. A lot of people don't like that. And I was surprised how many people cared that much about the fact that I was saying that, you're cutting out all the because they're stuck with APS-C. Fair enough. And someone was arguing that because full frame lenses are only meant to resolve a certain resolution, and high resolution APS-C sensors are going to be too much resolution for those lenses to handle. And that may be the case with really high resolution APS-C sensors, but the FX30, I did the calculations. The FX30 is a similar pixel density to the A7R5, which is a very high resolution full frame camera. It's what, 52 megapixels. So if G Master lenses are built to be able to resolve that, why would they not be built to resolve, an FX30, a 26 megapixel APS-C camera? I used the 20G 1.8 on my FX30 and the image is beautiful. Yeah, the 20 mil 1.8. I made a whole video. Actually, I made multiple videos on YouTube about that lens because it is a nice lens. Fast AF than the FX3 as well. On the FX30, the FX30 has better AF than the FX3. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But then, of course, anything since the A7R5 will have even better autofocus because they have the AI chip. But the FX30 did not have that. So, or did the A6700 have that? Does the A6700 have the AI chip? Because I remember all the full frame cameras since the A7R5. So the A7R5, the A7CR, the A7C2, the FX2, they all had the AI chip. I can't remember if the A6700 has it or not. I know I'm getting full frame lenses. The only reason I can see that argument is APS-C lens are smaller and lighter. Well, smaller, lighter, and cheaper. Yeah. APS-C lens is smaller, lighter, and cheaper. So if you want to save a bit of money, you get an APS-C lens. What I use, my attitude towards it as well is like, if you have, let's say you get an FX30, but you're planning on getting your next camera is going to be a full frame. You may as well get full frame lenses from then on, and then when you get a full frame camera, you can just use those lenses and there's no issues. Whereas if you get an FX30 and you get a couple of APS-C lenses, and then your next camera you get an FX2 or an FX6, FX6 for the win, fair enough. Or you get a full frame camera, and then it's like, well, now I have to either use these lenses in APS-C mode, use this camera in APS-C mode, and just not get the most out of the camera, or then you have to go buy more lenses. So I totally agree with that argument of just getting full frame lenses from the start. And a lot of full frame lenses, at least when it comes to like Sony ones, like the G and G Master ones, the full frame ones are going to be better. They don't make G Master APS-C lenses. They only make G Master full frame lenses. So a lot of full frame lenses are just going to be better quality than APS-C ones. And that's probably not the case with like cinema lenses and stuff. There's a lot of really good Super 35 cinema lenses. Okay. My hard drive is rattling. But yeah. Oh, why is that in A mode? Go away. Yeah. Have you noticed that anamorphic lenses are better than G Master? It makes the image three-dimensional and looks higher resolution. That's what I've noticed. Color additions are better as well. I mean, I haven't noticed that specifically. I understand why you're saying it makes it three-dimensional. And that's because of barrel distortion, mainly. And also because of anamorphic bokeh. Like, just the way that anamorphics render out of focus areas, because it squeezes them differently to what's in frame. To what's in focus. And that's why you have that over bokeh even like the Remus set. I've got the 33mm. Even on that, which doesn't have an oval iris, but is an anamorphic lens anyway, it still has the shape of the bokeh or the bokeh will look slightly different to the what's in focus. And I think that's with it's a combination of barrel distortion and just the way that anamorphics render out of focus areas that make that like 3D look. I'm not sure if I really agree with you on the higher resolution, especially given how, at least, I mean, the 33mm is a pretty sharp Blazar lens. 33mm Remus. It's very sharp, but wide open, it's not going to be as sharp as, you know, like 24-70. But of course, that's probably not even a clear comparison. Maybe like the 20mm G. I do really like the color on the Blazar though, the Remus. There's especially just like when you get those, and I've said before as well, especially on like because I used to have the 85mm 1.8. I didn't like the chromatic aberration, but I like the chromatic aberration on the Remus. That's the thing, especially like when you get the edges of the frame and you get like the squeeze and the distortion and the blur and the chromatic aberration all working together. That's just it just looks nice. Like there's I'm trying to think. Oh, I did a like a cinematography breakdown recently, like a couple weeks ago. It's like lighting an outdoor scene sort of thing. I had to light an outdoor scene. That shot, like the A-roll shot that I had for that video, the edges of that, especially on the right side, just because there was some elements in the foreground and the background, that I just really liked. Just the way that the chromatic aberration worked and the way that distortion worked, it all just looked really nice. Mantis 35 is sharpest lens I own with disgusting amount of character. Nice. Yeah, no, that's really cool. The Mantis is a really nice set. They look nice, and the oval bokeh, the oval iris is a really cool, like I guess innovation to make it look more anamorphic than it really is. But like I said, like now that I have cameras that shoot open gate, I don't really need the 1.33 times. Yeah, I just want to get more Remuses with the 1.5 times. Dream camera would be an FX3 body in an A6700 size. Wanted to get the ZV-1 or the ZV-E1, but overheating issues would be a problem when shooting around a gun. If it was reliable, then it would have done that. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, the ZV-E1, any of the ZV bodies, yeah, I would not trust to not overheat. Also, I understand what you mean about have like a smaller body. I just don't like smaller bodies. That being said, I am considering getting an S1, but that's not for like professional video work. That's for like, you know, YouTube stuff or traveling and just taking some photos and whatever, or like as a C cam or as like a BTS cam or something like that. Just little things, nothing too serious. Nothing that I would ever have used like the FX30 for, or that I would use the Pixis for, or that I would use the S12 for. But yeah, I'm not a fan of those like little body cameras. One, because of the grip. Like even the like the A7 IV without a cage, it's too short. My I don't have big hands, but my pinky falls off the bottom of it. I would say my dream camera would be like an FX6 with the Blackmagic 12K sensor, with built-in audio on the body. It's kind of like how the Burano is, how it has those XLRs on the body. Doesn't necessarily have to have XLRs, but at least a 3.5mm. Unlike the FX6, that's probably the biggest thing with the FX6. It's like, why did you not just put a 3.5mm jack on the body? But yeah, something like an FX6 with audio on the body, with the electronic VND, with like a really nice sensor with really good dynamic range, with like the 12K, the Pixis 12K and the Ursa 12K. Honestly, like, maybe it's just an Ursa 12K. It's got XLRs on the body. It's got built-in NDs. It doesn't have a variable ND, but it does have built-in NDs. Even the like the built-in monitor, like the flip-out screen, is like a 4 or 5 inch monitor. So you like don't even need to put a monitor on the top if you're shooting at run and gun. It's obviously a bit too big to be like proper run and gun. Like even the Pixis, you could use it run and gun, but it's like it gets heavy. Like even just holding it, when I was shooting some narrative stuff a few weeks ago, there was some, I can't remember if I didn't take my shoulder rig or I just didn't put it on the shoulder rig, but I was like holding it at shoulder height up like this, and I was just like resting the back of the battery on my shoulder, and just holding it up there for like the couple of minutes that it took to do a take is like, oh, gotta put it down, like my shoulder hurts now. So like, yeah, big cameras like that, definitely you want good ways to support them. Yeah, that'd be a dream camera for sure. Yeah, I think I made a video years ago, I think not long after I got my F7 IV. I was like designing my dream camera. It was an FX4, and it was basically like somewhere in between an FX3 and an FX6, because it's like, okay, FX6 is maybe too big for a lot of things, but the FX3 could be bigger. Like you could make that a bit bigger, put some NDs in it maybe, you know, put a little bit more stuff in there, put some 32-bit float in there. That's something that I had talked about in a video a long time ago as well, of like camera features that was like the future of camera technology or whatever it was. And in that, like one of the things that I said is 32-bit float, because it's like, well, the Wireless Pro had come out. The DJI Mic 2, I don't know if it was out yet, but like the Comica VM40, which is a, you know, shotgun mic that's this long that has 32-bit float. Like we have 32-bit float in these small little devices. If you can fit that in a camera, like, you know, make the camera slightly bigger, put that inside the body, boom, you now have 32-bit float recording in your camera. And the only cameras that I know of that currently do that are these new Lumix cameras with the XLR attachment on the top. So it's like the GH7 things. It's everything since the GH7. The GH7 and then these new S series. So the S12, the S12E, and the S1R2. They can all do 32-bit float internal with the XLR module, which, I don't know, that's just kind of annoying. It'd be so much better if it was just in the body. So, you know, make the body a bit bigger. We don't need it to be. And this one thing that I keep like mentioning all these things. I've made videos about these things. When the S1R2 came out, I sort of made like a ranty video about like, I don't care about all these new cameras because they're just bringing out more mirrorless cameras. Like I don't want a mirrorless camera. I want a cinema camera, but one that like isn't 20 grand. Which, to be fair, you know, Pixis, but or something that just had the capabilities of the S12, but in a better body, maybe like an S1H2, you know, like we talked about before. But yeah, it's like, I don't really, for the most part, like maybe having one hybrid camera is cool, so I can still take photos, but the rest of it, like I think my sort of ideal number of cameras would be 3. Have like 1 or 2 like solid video cameras, like a Pixis, like maybe a Pixis 12K, maybe a Pixis 6K as well, and then like an S12. But then, to be fair, I'd probably also want like a smaller, like an S9, like just sort of like travel sort of thing. So maybe it's 4. So you can have like A cam, B cam, and then a C cam, and then an extra one. But yeah, like I talked about not wanting another mirrorless camera, because it's just like, I'm getting a camera for video, but it's a photo camera that can do video. But what I want is, you know, stuff like this that is a video camera, and I just feel like we don't get nearly as much of this sort of stuff than we do with all these like hybrid mirrorless cameras that, to be fair, probably a majority used for video these days. Like, yeah, people still take photos, but a lot of the time people probably get cameras for videos, and it's just sort of weird that these companies have kept the form factor of a photography camera for all these like video first cameras. Even like the FX3, FX30 body, FX2 body, it's still in the shape of a photo camera. Like it's better. It doesn't have the viewfinder on the FX2 has a viewfinder, but it's slightly leaning more towards the cinema style, but it's not nearly there. So yeah, anyway, I'm probably gonna call this live stream here. It is almost 11:30. Yeah, I travel extremely light, like carry on only and shoot solo. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's when you would want like a nice small like a mirrorless hybrid camera. That would be good, like, you know, an S1II or an FX30. The only thing with the FX30 is, like, if you need wide, you're gonna need to get an APS-C lens. Oh, you can get like the Laowa, what is it, 12 mil, 10 mil? I think that Laowa have an autofocus E-mount 10 mil full frame lens, but then you need to change that if you need something wide. But yeah, if you wanted wide, you would probably need to get an APS-C lens, because most full frame lenses don't go that wide. But yeah, I like traveling extremely light carry-on only. Like, that's what I'm planning on doing. So I'm going, I guess, traveling just all around New Zealand in a few weeks, and I'm planning on I'm taking my camera bag, probably like half full of camera stuff and the rest full of, you know, the other stuff that I would need as carry-on on a plane. So I'm like trying to think about, like, what can I fit in half a bag that isn't gonna be too heavy that it'll be like over limit and stuff. So it'll be, yeah, camera, lens, batteries. That's probably about it. Like, not much else. Maybe one other lens, or if I do end up getting an S9, maybe another body, but that's pretty small anyway. Also, when traveling, I don't want to be concerned all the time about damaging expensive equipment. I don't want to draw a lot of attention in order to get cameras. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. When you're shooting out in public, like, the bigger your camera, the more attention you draw. Like, if you just have a little vlog looking camera, no one really cares. But yeah, if you had a rig like this, or like Pixis in this rig, yeah, people will notice. But that being said, like, I've shot narrative stuff, not in like public, but like outside the location that we're shooting everything else in, just like on the street sort of thing, and like people would look, but like no one really cares that much. Studio work, I would totally get you. Yeah, I wouldn't even necessarily say just studio work. Like, pretty much almost all the stuff that I do, that would work so well for YouTube stuff, even for live stream. Not that I live stream much, but for live streaming. But yeah, like YouTube stuff, for commercial stuff, for narrative stuff, that would all be great, because I don't need to be like super compact and like travel really light and everything like that. Like, usually I'm working the capacity of a DP, so I'm not just a videographer going around with somebody. I'm like bringing lights and stands and all my camera stuff and filling my car with all my gear. So having a slightly bigger camera isn't really a hindrance in any way. But yeah, I think I need to call it there. It is 11:30. I was originally planning on ending this like an hour ago, but commercial and narrative, yeah. Commercial and narrative, that sort of camera would work great. And then, yeah, if it had autofocus, it could work for dock stuff as well. Yeah, Jonathan, thank you for hanging out. Anybody else who's here, thank you for hanging out. It's a pretty good stream. We've got decent amount of views. I guess people care about this camera, which is cool, because it's a very interesting camera. We had 25 viewers at one point. Damn. And Kofi Yabo was in here. That was pretty cool. Anyway, I'm gonna call it there. I've been talking for 3 hours straight, basically, so I need to go to bed. And I got some editing to do tomorrow. Actually, making a video about this camera. I shot it today. I'm gonna edit it tomorrow. Yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't subscribed, just consider subscribing. Do all the other things. There's some links. I will, at some point, not immediately after the stream, but at some point, I will get the link for the small rig cage. There should already be links for some of the other stuff on here in the description. Yeah, these Alphonse cables are pretty cool. I like this. I talked about this in my Pixis rebuild video. I'll add the link for that as well. Might already be there, I'm not sure. Anyway, traveling and running gun is the only thing that made me go in the direction I went in. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, bye.